On this episode of Taste Cast, we will be discussing our takeaways of E3 2021. E3 has come and it has gone already so quickly, and we watched pretty much everything there is to have watched of E3. Hopefully, you guys had a chance to do that as well. Hopefully, you guys had a chance to check out our reactions. We're going to be talking about best presentation, worst presentation, biggest banger of E3, worst game of E3 or worst thing in general, big surprises, worst surprises, and all that. So make sure to stay tuned for that conversation. Of course, let us know what you thought as well. And we'll be discussing what we've been playing and reading your comments that all pertain around E3 2021. So it's going to be a bookend to E3, wrapping it in this episode. Before we do that, make sure to download and play Operation Tango, Virtua Fighter 5, Ultimate Showdown, Star Wars Squadrons, and Minecraft. We're going to be talking about that this weekend on Game of the Month and Plus Club, so make sure to come back for that as well to let us know your opinions on those games, and we'll let you know ours. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. If you prefer to listen to us in audio form, this will be in audio form, so if you prefer that, check those out. And we have a Patreon if you'd like to support this channel further than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. If you're brand new, let's talk about E3. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 144 of the Taste Cast, a weekly podcast where we talk about things and all that stuff. My name's Seth, and of course, joining me is Chevy, and Chris is not here. Hopefully, we get a chance to talk to him about E3 stuff next time he's on the show. But yeah, we're going to be discussing E3 as a whole. As you guys already know, E3 happened. Hopefully you guys had a chance to check out everything that they showed. Hopefully you had a chance to check out our reactions. And we will, when we're talking about E3 in this episode, be including Summer Game Fest. Just because it happened at the same time. I know it's not technically E3, but when we say E3, I'm including that as well. So, you've been warned. But yeah, before we jump into E3 and essentially talk about our lasting impressions of the event and our takeaways from it, we got to jump into what we always jump into on Tastecast, and that is what we've been playing. And my list is very short, so maybe we should start with you first.
Okay. So I'll knock out the ones I can't talk about first.
Operation Tango.
Played Operation Tango. We streamed it. Feel free to check it out here on the channel.
Full playthrough. If you don't have a PS5 or you weren't too interested or maybe you didn't have someone to play co-op with when it comes to Operation Tango, we played from beginning to end. So if you're curious about it, you can see the whole thing.
As far as opinions go, in about a week. So
yeah.
Let's see.
This weekend. Plus Club this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
This fucking month flew by.
What was the other game? I have not played Squadrons yet. That's the one I need to play. And then I think it's Virtua Fighter's the other one. Played that earlier in the month. And then I've been playing Minecraft. That's the game of the month, so I can't really talk about it too much.
Yeah. It's kind of weird because you've been talking about it for months now, and now you can't talk about it.
Yeah. So come back in about a week for that one as well.
Yeah, that will be at the beginning of next week. It won't come out this weekend.
And then, yeah, outside of that, I picked up, I don't know if I brought it up last episode or not, so I'm just going to bring it up real quick. I picked up Guilty Gear Strive. I played a couple matches. It is beautiful. It plays really good. It does play different, though, so there's an adjustment there that I have to get used to, and I have to kind of figure out what character I like right now. So I have not put enough time into it to give like a solid hard opinion, but it's a solid game so far. They also have a pretty well done story mode. It's very much like a movie, so kind of neat.
Yeah, something that everything has. I think not too late, but very late for the genre, have had to start doing, because other people within the genre start doing really good jobs at telling stories, and fucking fighting games are actually like lore rich, like pretty fucking full of like a lot of lore, and nobody's telling the stories that well in game. You had to go read about it outside of it, or unlock some,
or catch tidbits of their conversations they had between each other and stuff.
Yeah, exactly, and piece it together. And so some people start doing it, and now everybody's starting to do it, and it's great. Like whenever I tell people like I love competition, that's the reason, is because most people who make fighting games probably had no interest in telling the story that way, and that's evident in that they weren't doing it. And then, you know, Mortal Kombat came out and was like, we're gonna straight up do like AAA cinematics in this fighting game,
like a full multi-hour campaign and everything.
Yeah, and you're gonna love it. And then some other people are like, should we start doing that? People seem to like it. And the other people are like, do we have to do it? I guess we got away with it for a while. I guess we got to start making fucking campaigns.
Yeah, between that and the way they handle multiplayer fighting games now, those were kind of like big things that needed to happen in the fighting game world. So
I mean, fighting games are fun, of course, but the genre hasn't evolved that much. And so I think getting better told stories is a good middle ground of how to evolve the genre.
For sure. So yeah, I need to play it more though. I meant to pick up Ratchet and Clank, but
dude,
didn't happen yet.
Why have neither of us played it?
I'm gonna wait till payday this week to pick it up.
Solid plan, always a solid plan.
Definitely something I want to pick up, but somehow that flew right under my radar. I had no idea it was out.
Yeah, I was telling you about it, and I was talking about it because it had released, and you had not been informed of that, and you were like, "Is it out?" And I'm like, "I'm pretty sure it is." And then Josh hit me up, and he's like, "Have you played it yet?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "You should. I beat it." I was like, "Well, Josh has already beaten it. He's already finished it, so yeah, it's definitely out."
Yeah. So I need to pick that up still. What else did I play? I played a little bit of ESO. I played with you and Chris. I won't go too into too many details, but did my first dungeon in the game. It popped twice for us, and the first time felt like how it was supposed to be played, and the second time felt like I was a person joining an MMO too late.
Yeah. You got a little bit of both worlds there. I'm kind of happy that you got to experience it in a way that like we weren't rushing through it. 'Cause the second time we played it, we were playing some bad motherfuckers and
overpowered people. Yeah,
they weren't interested. I think you came in, you're like, I'm new or something like that, and then they just like went, whoo, and just start running down the halls, just murdering shit.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to keep up with them because like my guy's pretty, you know, not super high level, but like I'm past the low 50 cap, and I'm just trying to keep up with him, just like murdering with him. Like, all right, I guess we're running through this. Like,
yeah.
Whereas the first time it was like me, you, and Chris, and some random dude, and he was very understanding that you guys had never done the dungeon. I'd only done it a couple times. And he kept pace with us and stuff like that, and showed us the way in a couple parts. But yeah, the second time was just
which in all honesty, I've been played Final Fantasy 14 for so long. I'm kind of used to both sides of that spectrum even now. I tend to be in the camp of I go at the pace of the tank. So, if they're new and they're like, "Oh, I'm not comfortable," I'm like, dude, that's fine. Just do it at your pace. It's fine. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to be able to have that healer who was patient with us to keep pace with us. But then the second run, I was just like, okay, I'm familiar with this. Yeah. I'm just gonna loot as you guys kill everything. So,
quick EXP.
Yeah. Which it has its pluses and minuses. Obviously, it is a bummer. Like if it was my first time experiencing it, that'd be a really poor way to experience it. Though fortunately, I do have that information in my head where I would know that that's not how it's intended to be played.
For sure. Yeah, you're not new to MMOs at all. Yeah. Obviously. But it is a lot different when you get to go around every corner and run to enemies and go, okay, how are we going to fight this one? Oh, it's that fight. Oh, this boss. Versus like you're just following a dude who's like a lawnmower and you're just looking at the sights going like, okay, cobblestone, fucking walls and shit, dark castle, whatever. And then you're at the end and it's over. Like it takes a lot away from it.
For sure. I think in the future, as much as like I like the Dungeon Finder, in every MMO, I think it's very important to have.
It's nice, dude. I fucking do dungeons all the time. Yeah, it's through that.
But I think because I'm already playing the game at like my pace to begin with, I'm not really like in a rush to get to the end game in that game. Mm-hmm. I would prefer to have that experience, I think, in a more planned fashion, so that I can experience the dungeons versus just being run through them. 150 plus, and the normal dungeons don't matter anymore. Then I won't care as much. But right now, it's all new to me, so I want to kind of experience it as best I can. So.
Yeah, and have that luxury because I play SO every day, and most of the time, people I know who are playing it aren't playing it. When I'm playing it, and I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna let that hold me back. So I'll just hop in with like random people and just fucking
for sure,
just grinding the fuck out of that game.
Yeah, I mean, if I was like like in the game like all the time, I'd probably
Play
do
it
the same
regularly,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, but because it is more of a side game for me.
Secondary MMO.
Yeah. Well, kind of third if you're going to consider the time I put in Minecraft, but
Well, third game, not MMO.
yeah,
I would never consider Minecraft an MMO.
no, at least not my server. Um, yeah. What else did I play this month? That's
It's going to be a real short episode, which is fine because I need the break.
Yeah, I didn't really play anything like super involved or really that I could talk about. I kind of stayed with my comfort games this last week. I played some 14. We finally finished getting the gear we need out of the third fight of this tier out of the 4 fights. So the only thing we have left to do is the 4th fight, and conveniently the tier got unlocked as of recording this. So there's no risk in losing all the loot beforehand by skipping fights now, because it's late enough in the tier that they're basically like, okay, you guys can just play the game now. So that hindrance to keep you playing on a weekly basis got taken out.
Mm-hmm.
So looking forward to doing some 12 or the 4th fight, however you want to word that. People, have real life obligations right now, so we're not raiding a lot right now, which is fine. Real life comes first. We always
Summertime, bro. Party time. Everyone's fucking...
family stuff, but yeah.
Everybody's getting drunk and blacking out, dude. It's a good time.
Yeah, other than that, I was leveling my warrior a little bit last night, so...
So what's going on with the servers? You were talking to me about it before we started filming, and maybe you can fill some people in.
Oh, so during FanFest, they had, and I think even beforehand, they had mentioned they want to try to eliminate as many hurdles as possible for people to play together. And the way the game's set up now is there are they're called data centers, and they're essentially hubs of servers that are in different locations. So there's one for Japan, there's 2 for Europe, and there's 3 for the United States, and soon to be 1 for Australia in Oceanic.
They don't need it.
Originally, so to use America as the example, we have 3 data centers, and within those data centers, there's a handful of servers. As long as you're within your data center, you can hop from server to server, but not from data center to data center. Now you can hop from data center to data center. The only thing that doesn't go with you is your social stuff, because those people don't exist there. So that gets
makes
blocked
sense.
out, yeah. But you can still play the game. So if you know someone who plays somewhere else and they want to run a dungeon or raid or whatever, you can go over and do that with them now. So very cool, very cool.
Yeah, it's good they're making all these small adjustments that are making the game more streamlined and have a lot of freedom. ESO and Final Fantasy 14 are very different beasts, so I wouldn't compare them. But that's one thing ESO does very well is accessibility. If you want to do something, there's not a whole lot of things that are going to get in your way.
For sure.
Unless you're trying to do a solo instance. You can't do that with people.
You fight some random dude out in the dirt that apparently is really buff.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
I think the crazy thing about it is that there's already this huge focus on not needing other characters, because your one guy can do it all. The only reason you would make other characters is maybe inventory space or to play on other servers. And now that doesn't matter. You can just have a character. So it's I don't know, it's pretty crazy. I also think for hardcore raiders or people who play at the hours like I play, I could actually have better luck if I went over. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it works this way. But if I went over to the Japanese data centers where people are awake when I'm playing, so
That makes sense.
and the game has an auto translate thing, so it'd be really easy to
Does
communicate.
it work well?
It worked well in 11, so they use the same system.
Fucking old tech.
You hit tab and it gives you a list of translatable phrases. So
Interesting. I thought it was like translating as you type or something.
No.
So very, very impressive.
you just go looking for party, the name of the fight, please invite, type of thing, and that gets translated.
And can you translate important information during a dungeon or a raid or whatever the fuck?
Well, that's gonna be trickier for Japanese people playing with Americans, because we don't have one strategy we all do. Versus in Japan, they have something that as soon as they beat it, they go, "This is the way we do it forever," and then they make a text thing that they put at the beginning of the fight, and it'll have H1, H2, so healer 1, healer 2, T1, T2, tank 1, tank 2, and then D1 through 4. And you just go, I'm healer 2, and then you just do what's on the map. So it's very robotic compared to how we play. Because here, we sit here and argue for about 10 minutes before we actually start the fight, and then we do it, and someone screws up, and you're like, you're supposed to do this. And you're like, well, I thought we were supposed to do this. No, that's the strategy we're not going to do.
So what you're saying is we're not the Borg.
Correct. But we usually come up with quicker kill strategies.
Waste time with our freedom. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Sounds
so
about right.
Our clear rates are less, but our clears are usually faster because we do more risky strategies.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a weird difference in, like, usually when like world first race happen to, you'll see it's usually like US and Japan. Europe's in there sometimes, but they're not super focused on rating the same way.
Slacking.
Like Japan's a heavy rating scene. US is pretty heavy rating scene as well. So.
It's because a certain person in North Ireland isn't playing.
It's not an Ubisoft game, so.
True. This is true.
That's
shots fired.
Pretty much all I've been playing though. So.
My list is even shorter. Played Operation Tango. I'm going to remind you guys, you can watch the full playthrough if you don't have a PS5 or you just didn't want to play the game. I would recommend watching it. We're going to have a lot to talk about when it comes to talking about it on Plus Club. But you'll get a feel of what we thought of it there. I mean, we beat it. And also, if you want some entertainment, it's a lot of puzzle solving and getting annoyed with each other in a way that's not like negative. Like the game is supposed to be confusing, so a lot of times you have to remember that the other person you're playing with is not seeing what you're seeing. Completely different things they're seeing, and that's kind of the biggest challenge of the game is the communication, which I actually will talk about later.
Yeah,
I was about to start talking about my opinion right now. So yeah, go check it out. ESO. I've been playing ESO. I've been doing E3 and ESO. So that's what I'm doing. Making thumbnails, doing chapters on the videos for E3, and then ESO. So, ESO, my necromancer, who is a DPS stamina necromancer, is almost a champion level 200 at this point, which isn't that high compared to, of course, people who play the game all the time, but it's high enough that I'll get into dungeons and people start asking me questions now. And I'm like, I've been playing for less than a month, so don't ask me shit, because I don't know anything. I'm like brand new, practically.
You're like, I haven't really absorbed it. I've just been using it.
Yeah, I've just been running through this game. I don't know what's going on. I'm still learning stuff. Like 3 days ago, I found out I can upgrade my bag inventory, and I spent like $100,000 on it. And I was like, oh god. It's been very useful though. Very nice to have more space in my bag because I fill that bitch up. In case you don't know, in ESO you level to level 50, and then when you hit 50, that is the end of the leveling, but it resets you to champion level 1, and you start leveling champion levels. So I'm like, I think 170, 180 or something like that. So I'm on my way to 200 right now. And each time you get a champion level completed, which seem to go faster than normal levels, you get champion points. And champion points work almost exactly like badass points in Borderlands. If you don't know what that is, it is an endgame mechanic in Borderlands and ESO where you get to get points that give you small little percentages towards passive abilities to overall make your character better. But these passives in both games, now that I'm talking about Borderlands, carry over across your other characters. So if I'm leveling my necromancer and I'm like, champion 130, and I got, all these champion points I'm spending on this character, when I log into my level 5 character, just normal level 5, not champion level 5, I have all those champion points for them as well, and I can spend them right now. So that character at level 5 is more powerful than my necromancer was at level 5 because if I'm using my champion points, which I should be, I can upgrade my abilities to do like crits, run faster, less fall damage, less money when I'm teleporting all over the map, stuff like that, like a lot of stuff. So it's a pretty cool system. I'm really into it because not only am I just like grinding for gear to get better and better gear, I'm also still leveling. I'm still going through it's a pretty big tree of passives. And it's benefiting me and my other characters that I'm not playing right now. So I really like the system, and it's cool to see it implemented into an MMO because one thing ESO does that's really interesting, but it's very on brand for like Oblivion and Skyrim, is if I'm whatever level and you're like level 2, we can play together and do the same missions, and I'll still get loot for my character. You'll get loot for your character at your level, and the enemies will be difficult for both of us.
Right.
And so that's cool for accessibility, and it makes it so the game's always interesting, but you never feel like you really got anywhere. You never feel like you're like, I'm level 50, like I'm a badass. I'll cheese through this and just, rush you through it and fucking level you quickly, power level you and shit. That's not really a thing until you start dealing with the champion points. Those start inching you further and further into being a more powerful character.
You start breaking stats, essentially.
Exactly.
Because, like, to use an example like Final Fantasy 14, there's always a point every endgame tier where crit becomes so abundant that everybody at a certain point just goes, okay, pure crit.
Yeah,
because now you're breaking stats and it's just going to overpower everything.
Because you're
else.
multiplying, yeah. And that's why I always start going into crit in most games nowadays. It's like when I was younger, I was like, I don't want to make that build. But I'm like, no, why wouldn't I have crit? Because then when I hit those crits,
there's a
I'm
threshold.
going to do a crazy amount of damage.
Yep.
And increase the crit chance. So I'm just doing more and more damage to the multiplier.
Yep.
So my character, I got a lot of crit. So I'm doing that already. I started the character like that. My Necromancer is a dual-wielding caster type, mostly quick roguelike crit moves, but then I can summon like skeletons that shoot at things while I'm fighting them, or this heat-seeking guy that flies at people and blows up, which is nice. But I'm mostly spec'd into the combat, the hand-to-hand shit, so it's interesting. But I'm enjoying it enough. And yeah, I still haven't touched the newest content. I haven't done much with it. I did make a new character. There is this is a dude on the internet that you guys might know about, Hasbullah, who is this like Russian boxer, and I'll leave it at that. You can look him up. I named my new character after him. He's a little my character is a little short guy who's tough as fuck. And he's influenced by him. But anyway, I made a new character in an ESO. Every time you make a new character, if you have the newest content, it will always spawn you in the newest content zones. So right now, it's like Oblivion, and so it spawns you in that area. And so it's kind of a cool system because, like, I've talked about this before, but if you're new to the game and you have all the content and you make a new character, it starts you in the newest and best in ESO. It shows you the best graphics, their newest mission types, all that stuff, and you're getting a really good taste of the modern way ESO is. And then you can go back to the other zones and just play the stories in each zone. Each zone has its own storyline that you can play through, so it's kind of segmented stories. But then also, if you're like a veteran, you play the game a shitload, and you make a new character, you're not going to spawn in the same old spawn that you've been spawning in for like the last 7 years. You're always going to have a new spawn zone when you make your character, and I think it's a really smart and cool system. But Hasbullah is what is he? I wanted to make him some kind of tank character, but then I started playing with a fucking bow, and so, which I'm sure you can make one in this game. You can make really anything. I saw some guy. No, he wasn't a real tank. I was playing I was playing a dungeon, and our tank bailed for whatever reason. And we're like waiting around for a tank to show up in the dungeon. And this guy shows up, and he just looks like Peter Pan, and he's got a bow and shit. And he comes running up, and I'm looking at him like, and he's got the tank emblem. And I look at him, I'm like, I guess a tank? Well, I guess it's ESO. They can do whatever the fuck they want. We go into our first fight against the boss that we're stuck on, and he not only doesn't pull aggro for anything, nothing comes after him, he gets hit by the boss and just fucking splat, dies instantly. And we all just get wiped, and fucking we all respawn, and somebody's just like, are you really a tank, or are you just pretending to be one so you could get into this dungeon? And the guy instantly was like, I'm sorry, I did pretend, I'm not actually a tank. And then the other guy's like, maybe we can still do this. And we ended up beating it with him. So you can beat dungeons in this without a tank. It was fucking rough, though. But I just thought it was funny. That guy just showed up, and he just, like I said, he showed up like Peter Pan and got murdered. And fucking, The other person's just like, are you like? They're very nice about it. Like, are you really a tank or are you just an imposter? And the guy just was instantly like, I'm sorry,
Jig is up.
and no one kicked him. They're like, okay, it's fine. We'll just try and play with you. So anyway, yeah, playing it quite a bit, enjoying it quite a bit. I hopped into this game buying half a year of ESO Plus, and so far it's been a good investment because I've been playing every night. So, and yeah, I'll just end it with, if you're thinking about playing ESO, whether you played in the past and maybe like me and you played when it first came out and you didn't like it, like me, fucking, it's a lot better now. Or if you haven't come back in a while, you should come back and check it out because it's pretty fun. I think that's everything I've played. I just downloaded Stalker, so I intend on playing that because Stalker 2's got me very excited. But yeah, with that, anything else you've been playing? Short and simple. I play ESO now. I gotta play Minecraft. I played everything else for Plus Club. We'll talk about that. Still gotta get you to play Squadrons, but I still gotta play Minecraft. I just haven't been in the mindset. I forgot it was our game of the month, half the month, because of E3 and all that shit. So I will be probably playing quite a bit this week and this weekend. So getting a feel for all the new content. That's my plan. The Ratchet and Clank too. So my hit list, my fucking hit list of shit I'm gonna play is Minecraft. ESO for my dailies.
Spoke like a true junkie.
Yeah. Ratchet and Clank. Oh, dude, days that I haven't played. There's like a couple days this month that I haven't played, so I'm not gonna get all the monthly daily rewards, and it's pissing me off. So I got to figure that out. Because I can't always be on my computer. What's the other game? Ratchet and Clank. I want to play that. I want to play Minecraft, and I want to play. We got to play Squadrons. We should do some online co-op real quick. Play a couple matches or some shit. There's something else. I don't remember. Oh, Stalker. I'm gonna play those. That's my plan for the next like week or so. So, fucking wish me luck, Godspeed, and all that shit. But let us know in the comments, what games have you guys been playing? What have you been enjoying? Have you played the new Ratchet and Clank? Is it as good as I hear everyone saying? It's fucking amazing. People keep talking about how amazing it looks. Somebody was like jokingly saying on Twitter, like, I don't know how the fuck these guys made this game.
Oh well, that makes me even more upset that I didn't buy it yet.
Oh, I've heard nothing but like crazy praise for it.
Of course.
Yeah, it's apparently very good. Worth the price. Although people are bitching that it's like 15 hours, 12 or 15 hours. It's Ratchet and Clank. Like, I don't know. Now our game needs to be like 100 hours, but I'm being ridiculous. That's quite a jump, but you know what I'm saying.
When you get older, yeah, those longer games don't need to be every game.
If I can get like if it's got replayability, that's cool. Like fucking, if I can get in like a short and sweet game that I really fucking enjoyed, has less time to have errors in it to make me go, I didn't like it that much. I think it's a good thing. I'd rather it be short, sweet, and good than long and does the Red Dead Redemption 2 thing where like the beginning's great and the end's great and the gameplay is always dope, but like the story fucking drags for like literally 6 weeks in real life.
I can name a couple animes that do the same thing.
Sure. So, I'd rather the opposite. If you got something that's shorter and just good across the board, fucking dope. And
sure.
I'm more than willing to support that kind of thing. So as long as it is good. Yeah. Let's know what you guys been playing though. What would you recommend playing? And yeah. So like I said at the beginning of this in the intro and then in the second intro, E3 happened. Hopefully you had a chance to check out everything that was shown. There's a lot shown. And hopefully you had a chance to check out our streams, whether you were there while we did them live. Thank you for hanging out if you did. Or if you watched them later, which thank you for watching if you did. Hopefully you got a chance to kind of sample everything that was shown. So before, we're going to do something different this year. Typically, we always cover E3. And then sometimes we'll talk about it afterwards, which was the plan here. But I kind of wanted to do like something not quite like awards because we haven't agreed upon what's the best, what's the worst, stuff like that. But I do have a couple categories that I want to go through of things of E3. And we're going to both have our own opinions on them and kind of throw them out there. And then we're going to grade all of E3 at the end. So think about that. And of course, we invite you guys to do that as well. But before we jump into that, I want to have a general conversation about how do you think E3 was handled in 2021 after 2020. Everybody knows what that means. Strengths, weaknesses, what do you think could have been improved? Do you think they did a good job? Do you think they did a bad job? There seems to be people out there who are pretty tough on some of the presentations, thinking they were awful and they should have never done them. Some of them I kind of agree with. Some of them I think are a little rough. Other people defending them. There's a lot of opinions about how E3 was handled in a time that hasn't really been experienced by any of us. So it's kind of an interesting situation.
Yeah. So they didn't have one last year at all.
Yeah.
And then this year, they obviously decided not to do a physical one and opted to do a digital only one, which makes sense. Not every country is at the same level of readiness for physical interaction. So,
I heard France opened up. What's up, France?
that being said, with the model they chose to take, I think there is a level of understanding, but also a level of examples before it as well, that should be taken into consideration. So, like, they haven't done this before, and so I do feel a little lenient in that regard.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't have lenience towards is because really at the end of the day, like, E3 was put on a schedule and those people showed up, right? And I think in that regard they completely succeeded. There was multiple days of events available for us to watch. What ended up happening, I feel, is a lot of people showed up and took slots for these events. Some of them understanding what consumers wanted to see, and other ones not so much. So I think there was a decent amount of stuff that didn't really belong in, not even necessarily belong, that didn't really fit into what I would consider like E3, right? It should have been more so like personal releases on their own time, their own schedule, versus like an event that's meant to be like a time to celebrate and advertise really video games. And a lot of them just didn't bring video games, and that's really weird. So
yeah, I kept mentioning it on a couple of the presentations we did. Make sure to watch those if you haven't, where I was kind of speculating on, like, did these guys just take a slot because they typically do? Maybe the last year they're a little disoriented because they didn't do E3, and they're like, oh yeah, we just do E3. Well, of course we're going to have a slot. But then, like, they're like, well, what are we going to show? Well, we got that game coming out soon. Just throw that on there. Like, we got to sell that game. It didn't seem like some of the people were in the mindset of, like, the event of E3.
Yeah.
It's just like they were there, and they kind of, went by the numbers and just kind of showed anything that they had at the time. Some people really didn't have much to show at all, or they just showed shit they showed on other presentations.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of factors to that. I don't think there's just one answer to all that.
For sure.
I do think it is worth acknowledging that the circumstances of what we have all gone through in the last year does exacerbate a lot of things for everybody. But with that, certain people brought quite, like, good fucking presentations with it, and other people didn't. So
people
like
more prepared for the environment they're being put into.
So it can't be the excuse, but can be part of the whole picture.
Exactly.
And I think it's really important to look at. I think a lot of people just kind of go like, I didn't like that presentation, so it sucks. Everything sucks. E3 sucks. There's good presentations, there's bad ones, but some of them were oddly bad, and not bad like E3s we've had in the past where you're just like, well, that segment was fucking dorky, or that was really cringy, but like, why did you show up?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like you really cared a whole lot. It seemed like you wanted to advertise your movie, or give us a lecture on something.
Yeah.
And those things I don't think are the things people are clamoring for. Calling me crazy. Then other presentations showed big, high speculation games of myth and legend, and other presentations showed just a shitload of fucking games that people are really curious about. So it was very interesting to watch, but I don't want to just poo-poo anybody who didn't bring it. There's always presentations during E3, EA, that don't bring it. And
Consistently.
And so it's going to be a factor. But like I said, there's like this weird vacancy this year in some of the presentations that seemed like they didn't understand what E3 was anymore.
Yeah.
It seemed like, if I was watching videos on YouTube, there'd be an ad in between those videos that I'm watching, and they would have taken that ad space up to advertise a game coming out. And that's what their presentation was. And honestly, it was mostly just kind of disappointing, but also confusing. Even some higher profile people that I watch, I'm just going to throw one of them out there, Easy Allies, they had a pretty similar reaction to, Gearbox that we had.
I saw that a lot on Twitter
I
as well.
never watched their reaction. We watched that like a couple hours after it had come out.
Yeah.
And then later I was like, oh, I wonder what, like literally that one specifically, I was like, I wonder what they thought of that. And I started watching it, and they're like sitting there, and these are all like professional people who know people in the industry and shit.
For years.
Yeah. And and some of them were like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And then like as some of the parts went on and on and on, something we commented on as well, the person said the same thing. They're like, this is still going on? And I'm like, okay, so we're not fucking crazy.
Yeah.
This was really kind of weird. So anyway, with that, it was a weird year, but I think that you got to kind of look past some of it to a certain degree. But of course, you got your opinions. You should have them. I have mine, everything like that. Yeah. I think some people are being, like with everything, overly harsh on a lot of stuff, and being, kind of shallow about the way they view it. But there's some really weird shit that happened this C3 that will go into my overall grade for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I also think it's worth pointing out as well that some companies that had or a company that adopted all digital stuff very early on felt right at home when they did theirs. Mm-hmm. And then the other big name that came out did it doing a hybrid of both stage and digital. Also knew what they were doing. Like they had a plan, there was a flow, etc. Even ones that people memed on a little bit. I'm being vague because we're gonna actually have a conversation about specific stuff in a moment. But
also go check out the videos.
Yeah.
If you're curious about what we're talking about specifically too, or maybe you watch them, you know what we're talking about. But I don't want to retroactively talk too much about what we've already reacted to.
Yeah. The biggest thing I think was that you had smaller publishers. Show up, take a slot, and then what they actually meant to do was advertise a single product. And I think part of that problem is that when you're looking at a schedule for E3, at least me as a consumer, right? Mm-hmm. I go, oh, so and so is going to be there. I can't wait to see what they have to showcase. Versus if they would have just been like game title in this slot instead of their publisher name, I think there'd be way less confusion.
Yeah.
So hopefully lesson learned for next time. If they don't take feedback and it continues this way, you're going to find less and less people interested. It's already kind of a finicky thing in the community. So
yeah. Two things to add to that. Jeff Keighley went solo last year doing a presentation or an event, Summer Game Fest. I believe the first time they did it was last year. Yeah. Which, what a year to do it. And I think we kind of needed it. So it was pretty cool to have gotten it then, but at the same time it felt clunky. And this year it felt clunky in some ways, particularly the way Jeff Keighley doesn't have much time to push all the stuff he has to show you. And with that, you get some bumps. But this year he did much better than last year. And
reminds me of another show he does.
Exactly, yeah. So he's perfecting the art of Summer Game Fest. It's an interesting parallel to look at compared to E3 as an organized event that had multiple presentations going on, but also compared to some of the people who might have seemed like they didn't care so much, but definitely not compared to like Xbox. So it's like that was interesting to see. Also, another thing I want to throw out there. People have been saying E3 is going to die, E3 is going to die, E3 is dying, blah, 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 blah. And I keep telling people, in 2019, that place was fucking bumping, dude. There's so many people there. It was crazy. The energy was insane, too, for a certain game that the energy doesn't exist for anymore. And Final Fantasy VII Remake. 2020 happened, obviously, and it just, nothing happened with E3. They didn't know what to do. They canceled it, blah, blah, blah. It survived 2020. It's here, and it's clunky, for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think people understand the amount of money E3 makes. I don't know how they made it this year, maybe in advertising. But
Probably.
although there are certain things I almost hope that this kind of reset their mentality with E3, because I remember in 2019 they were saying they want to start pushing E3 towards influencers and mobile stuff. And I was like, you do that, and I'm going to be one of the people who are like, yep, buy E3.
Yeah.
Which I'm not yet, but I understand where they're coming from. But at the same time, I think it's kind of illogical to think that E3 is just done. But came back. It didn't fall off, but it couldn't really because of the circumstances. They had to go like, well, we got to do something, and they just did this.
Yeah.
So anyway, my whole point is it's interesting that even after, a worldwide event that we went through, E3 survived that. So it's pretty, the people who are involved, I believe it's the ESA. It doesn't matter. They're pretty adamant about keeping E3 going, for good and bad. So it's been interesting that E3, for the most part, in a lot of ways, worked out this year, just not in the way that we would probably want.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else to add to general thoughts of the whole event? As a digital event, do you think it worked day by day, having these presentations, some ambiguous things like Take-Two interactive presentation or panel, and then it was just a discussion on stuff that
I still think the multi-day thing is a little necessary, to be honest, because if you were to put just major developers and console manufacturers in the same day, you're looking at like half a day easily of content to watch. And as someone who works a full-time job, that's a rough day.
Well, and if they did like the Netflix thing where they released the whole series in one day, you have to sift through all of that.
Yeah.
Whereas like when they kind of like release it day by day, you get to digest each piece and everybody gets their stage.
Everyone gets their chance at attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people got to waste it.
And all eyes are there. So I do think the format is better for both parties involved. It's less information overload and more one-on-one time, which is beneficial and can be very detrimental if you make an ass of yourself. Certain company who wanted to make fun of people for not having phones apparently a couple years ago. So,
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Shout out to fucking Devolver.
Every year.
They didn't skip a beat. Nothing changed for them.
But yeah,
In fact, the quality of what they did was even like better.
Well, I just think it's funny because the whole thing is never actually officially part of E3. It's just there. Like, hey, E3's happening. How can we make fun of the industry and advertise at the same time? So it's great.
Yeah. No, they did a great job. Yeah, what else? I mean, really, it felt like E3 without the physical stage presence of something happening in a convention center.
I think the hard part for me.
No people walking the floor.
Yeah, I think the hardest part about an all digital event, because even like as much as I enjoy like Sony Play or Nintendo Direct type thing, when there's no crowd to cheer stuff like that, there's a level of excitement that's just gone.
True.
So
I also think it kind of sucks that even if you don't get to walk the floor and play the games, people who go there to do that didn't get to do that either.
Yeah.
And so they're not intermingling with people. It's all these weird like Zoom meetings they got to do, and that's all pretty much
the entry level's
rehearsed
down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it kind of dilutes the energy that's possible. You also get less like independent gameplay videos of like different companies that got to go private, back in the private room, play a game and show it.
Yeah.
There are some stuff like that, but they had to do it, digitally, and it just seems like I saw significantly less of that. Because I did. I mean, even listening to people, they didn't play much games this E3, so
It's a lot harder to make a secure, playable version that you let people play at their homes. So,
yeah, for sure. So, yeah, overall, I mean, they tried. I think they allowed an event that had the presentations that could either go good or bad, and that happened. But overall, there was something missing. The energy was not as good as it could have been.
agreed.
So, yeah. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's get into our categories. I sent you a list of categories I would like to talk about. Obviously, do it how you want. There is no system to this, really. Just so you guys know the categories I had created. And feel free to in the comments, let us know your thoughts on these categories as well. I got biggest banger, which is essentially, it doesn't even have to be a game, even though it'd be kind of weird if it wasn't. Maybe you're just like, I love that, Back for Blood was the only thing that Warner Bros. Showed. That's my biggest banger of E3. You guys,
I saw Phil Spencer.
Phil Spencer's the biggest banger of E3. I love knowing that guy's alive. That could be, just the biggest in-show thing that you saw. And then I got biggest disappointment, something that doesn't even have to be like, it could be like, I fucking hate this, or you'd be like, it could have been so much better, just disappointment. Then we got best surprise. This can be anything, something that like surprised you legitimately, you had no idea was coming, or it kind of surprised you, but you're like, that's fucking dope looking, like, just the best surprise. And then we got worst surprise. That can be anything that you really weren't expecting, and it wasn't good. It could have been better. Best presentation, we're of course going to talk about that. And I want to be clear about this. We graded each presentation. Me and Chevy particularly, who are the people who did all the streams. Anyway, so we're here. We're going to talk about what we have already kind of talked about. We gave them all grades. Our grades, kind of cover the games that are shown, the energy, the presentation itself, the people who talked, everything. It's how much did it pass? How good was it? That doesn't necessarily mean it was our favorite. It might be, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if I gave this one an A and that one an A minus, and I picked the A minus as my favorite presentation, it might sound kind of illogical to say, well, why would that be your favorite? Well, maybe that had one game in it that I'm the most excited for, and it was almost just as good as the other presentation, but I didn't have the big bangers in it. That's my favorite one. So hopefully that makes sense. And then, of course, worst presentation, which we will save for the end. And then we will read your guys' comments pertaining to E3. So we're going to start with the biggest banger. I'll go first to set the pace. And I have shout-outs for every single category. So I'm going to be speaking about two things. My shout-out to biggest banger, the thing I almost wanted to pick for my biggest banger. And this is so biased. I get it. Like, a lot of people are going to be like, that's your biggest banger? Yes. When I think of my excitement for something during E3, Stalker 2. Seeing gameplay of Stalker 2 was so fucking exciting for me. It was crazy. I love Stalker. It's one of my favorite first-person shooters. I love the world, the atmosphere, everything about it. It's a fun game. It's dark. It's creepy. And that not only are we getting Stalker 2, but it's being made by the same fucking people that made the first one. It has that authentic, everyone speaks Russian vibe to it, that Chernobyl creeping around looking for stuff vibe to it that they nailed in the first game. So excited. But this one's better looking by miles. It's one of the best looking games I saw during E3 graphically.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Wasn't Forza Horizon 5, but it was fucking one of the best looking games of E3 easily. But also the voice acting now is like really good.
Yeah.
Even we don't speak Russian. You could tell the way he was talking seemed like a real person.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, "Oh, chicky bricky," like fucking. It wasn't dorky shit. So anyway, that's my shout out to Stalker 2. My runner-up, but my biggest banger is, of course, Elden Ring. It is the game of E3, in my opinion. It is the game that before E3, everybody was like, Elden Ring, dude, Elden Ring is going to be there, I kept telling people. I don't know, man. Like, don't get too fucking excited. It might not be shown. Might not be shown. But they're like, do you think it's going to get shown? I'm like, it's possible. Like, I saw the leaked trailer. There's a game made. And they showed it, and it did not disappoint. It's a gorgeous looking game. The trailer's great. The music's fucking awesome. The gameplay looks sick. It looks like this kind of mix of all the worlds that they've created so far when it comes to the gameplay, the world design. We got info we talked about when it came to how the world's going to work, how the multiplayer is going to work, how the combat's going to work. And it is just, even though, as soon as it started, I was just like already in it. Like, just, I've watched that trailer so many times now just to get like, I'm chasing the excitement I got the first time I watched it, because I saw it and I was like, dude, this game's going to be, like, I know it's going to be fucking good. It's going to be so fucking good. But every single time I just kept watching over and over again, catching new things. There's so much to that trailer. It was definitely my game of E3. There's definitely a lot of other games too I would put up there, but come on, it's the biggest thing they showed. It had the biggest hype, the biggest energy. Everyone's excited for the most part. Even though all these people are like, it's just Dark Souls, and people are like, what? Oh, and like that's fine. So yeah, that's definitely my biggest banger. I think it'd be hard for me to even try and contest that personally to myself, just because we got confirmation this game is coming and it looks fucking awesome. Did not disappoint.
Yeah. So I didn't actually put down any side mentions or secondary mentions or whatever, but I can kind of wing those pretty easily, I think.
Sure.
I think as far as like, the what was the biggest moment for me outside of my top spot is I'm actually gonna go with Battlefield 2042.
I almost put that.
I honestly was not even remotely in the mindset to care about a Battlefield again. The last couple, though, I enjoyed one. Battlefield hasn't really felt like, I guess, Battlefield for a while.
Yeah.
And then between that and some really awful PR over the years, I just kind of lost interest. And then when they showed off that trailer, and then we actually got some in-game stuff as well, it really kind of feels like a return to form. And that's exciting. And the huge maps and the crazy dynamic weather and stuff like that, it looks like Battlefield, and I'm excited for it. So
It was a much, much better trailer. The gameplay.
the only complaint I have is music mixing was garbage.
In the original trailer.
Yeah.
But in the gameplay one, I think was fucking dope.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my opinion, but I'm just saying, like,
No, I agree.
the music was trash in one of them.
Basically, they added commercial music into the trailer, and I hate when anyone does that. Period.
There's so many people online getting like so many views, so showing people are looking for this, taking like the theme from Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3, even Battlefield 1, and putting it over the trailer that they showed.
So they don't get dinged?
No.
Oh.
To show that trailer should have had better music.
Yeah.
And everyone loved it more. Because the music they've done in prior games has been way better than wherever the fuck that song was.
Only when the mixing was happening, because there was moments where it had the Battlefield sounds going on. I don't know. It was really confusing.
It was awful.
But outside of that, like visually, both not only getting the conceptual like feel just like advertised to you without like any hidden, like it just you saw and you like, this is what I'm gonna get type of deal.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, at least. Could still be wrong. I don't want to get too hyped on it.
Sure.
And then even like paying, head nod to that guy who pulled off that crazy video that went viral. That was just a cool moment too. They actually like acknowledging their community. It's not something they really had to do. So
Yeah.
I liked it. And then as far as like my top game, and even though I'm probably never going to play it, I'm also going to agree with Elden Ring. That game on every level just looks amazing. It's mind blowing to me that the level of creativity and just pure fantasy that comes out of that studio.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, need more minds like that in the industry. So
Yeah, From Software's always been very creative in everything that they've done, but they managed to make all their games that are akin to like Dark Souls similar but like different. and they do a lot of similar themed monsters, but they're all very different. And
Yeah.
like, how many attack patterns can you create? And they keep doing it. Like, they keep just making crazy and crazy shit. It's really impressive, and they haven't really failed at it yet. I mean, some people couldn't play Sekiro, but still a great game.
Yeah.
I mean, won game of the year that year somehow.
Well, it's also super impressive too that they take this game that just has like crazy like hitboxes essentially, and just give it these like really well done animations and larger than life scenarios. I mean, you really do just kind of feel larger than life when you take down something that big, and especially when it can very easily just destroy you if you're not paying attention. So
Yeah.
I do think all the praise that company gets, it's not overdone. They create things no one else makes.
Well, not everybody is part of that hype either. It's not like if you're a fan of From Software or the games they make, like that's not everyone's not like, I don't want to say welcome to that, but it's not for everybody.
Well, I don't play them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So like, but I still think it's
So it's
crazy.
hard to say like overhyped.
Yeah, it's crazy impressive though.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I always look forward to seeing what comes out of that studio, even if I'm going to play it or not. So
Yeah, definitely agreed. So yeah, Elden Ring was, according to both of us, and I think a lot of people, biggest banger of E3.
yeah,
It was kind of an event when that happened. Do you have yours in order the same way as mine?
whatever way you sent me the.
Okay. So do you want to start biggest disappointment?
Sure. So my biggest disappointment, and it's only because I actually had some expectation, which I guess was my mistake, was the entire Bandai Namco thing. They have so many games around the corner.
Oh yeah.
So many
Bandai
games around the
Namco.
corner.
And
They showed that horror game.
Oh yeah, dude, what the fuck was up with that?
They showed one game.
There's-
And it's
I
not even
forgot
like
about that.
what they're known for.
Yeah.
So I was super bummed out. They have so many like games that I'm actually like trying to keep an eye on right now.
I'm
And they
gonna
didn't
pick,
show any.
I'm gonna pick that game up, and that's the least interested game I'm in into when it comes to Bandai Namco.
I was so disappointed.
Yeah, so weird. That's one of those examples of like, what the fuck were you guys doing?
Yeah.
I don't like Bandai Namco, and it's like, what the
got
hell is this?
Tales of Arise coming out. You got that MMO coming out. You got Scarlet Nexus around the corner.
Yeah, not even an advertisement.
Nothing.
It's like Capcom did some weird shit too, and some fucking, of course, Gearbox and
Yeah, but at least Capcom showed some stuff,
Yeah.
right? Wasn't necessarily what everyone wanted to see, but like they still had a presentation of stuff that they make, right? Bandai Namco literally didn't show anything. They had some people talk about a game that they'd already shown off twice. So
yeah, it's so fucking weird.
it was bizarre, and I was super bummed out because I was actually looking forward to seeing some new stuff coming out of them because they've been kind of on a roll lately. So
Yeah. Anything else?
not really, because I didn't have expectations a lot
Yeah.
through most of the. Square was a little disappointing, but I also realistically didn't expect a whole lot either because
True.
they tend to either say something way too early or right before it comes out. So
Yeah. So I'm just gonna throw out there that unless you have anything else, it goes without saying one of my biggest disappointments is that some presentations really fucking lacked. I don't want to focus on that though, so that's not going to be my biggest disappointment. That because there was really good presentations too. I'm not going to focus on it. But it was a disappointment for sure. And there's that questionable shit. Like, you got all these games, you fucking showed one thing. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, and that fucking game? Why? I'm going to buy that game anyway. Anyone's going to buy that game already decide they're going to buy that game before they ever saw it. They're just like, I'm just going to fucking buy that game. No one saw that trailer and went, I've never thought about this game, but I'm going to buy it. So anyway, my runner-up to biggest disappointment, and take it with a grain of salt. Switch Pro. I wasn't all in. I didn't just assume they were going to show it. But there was a lot of stuff building up to E3, like leaks and stuff like that that really got pushed to make it sound like not only would there be an announcement at E3, but there would be one right before it. This is not a disappointment on going towards like Nintendo in the sense of going like, oh god, why didn't you fucking show it? Blah blah blah. It's just like, that would have been cool.
Yeah,
that's the disappointment. You know, like it's whatever. Like why the Switch has been selling well. That's funny too. All the motherfuckers, all the big publications, they were like, there's rumors that a Switch Pro is going to come out before E3. And then after E3, they're like, oh, of course there's not a Switch Pro. The Switch is selling just fine. It's like, go fuck yourself. But they're right. They're right. And they know they are. And they're just playing both sides because they're trying to get fucking people to click on their shit.
Right.
Switch had a fucking banger-ass year in 2020. They don't need to make a new console. But do I want one? Yes. I would love a new Switch console, whether it's an upgraded version of the Switch as like a Switch Pro or whatever, or just a brand new console to bring it into the next generation of Nintendo.
I sincerely hope they keep the architecture and just up the hardware.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. That's what I want because I think the Switch is fucking. I just improved the Switch. You guys nailed it. You fucking made one of the perfect consoles.
Yeah, let me keep playing those games.
Just up the power.
But give yourself the ability to have better games.
And don't take any features away, but add features. Like, you would have me so excited. So anyway, that's a minor, big disappointment of E3. One of my biggest disappointments is a weird one. It's not out of anger either. Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Final Fantasy 16, and they didn't promise it to me. I didn't go in going, we're going to see you guys. That's not me. You guys know me. That's not me. But holy shit, when Square Enix's presentation was over, and they had some cool games they showed. They also had some ones that I couldn't give a fuck about less.
Exactly, yeah.
Typical Square Enix. The mobile shit, you're never going to get me with that. But we saw a pretty good chunk of Final Fantasy 16 when they revealed it.
The announcement, yeah.
Yeah, more than I thought. It was more than a teaser. And so I'm sitting here going like, man, maybe we'll see like gameplay. Like even like 2 minutes, 1 minute of gameplay. That'd be sick. They didn't even fucking mention the game.
Yeah.
It's like they're like, psych. You guys talked about Final Fantasy 16 last time. Where's that at? No, we didn't. Yeah, you did. No, that's not. I don't even know if that's a game, dude.
I almost feel like they're
talking about Versus, dude. That's old school. That's not a thing anymore.
I almost feel like because the production studio that's in charge of that also makes 14, and with the expansion around the corner, I think they're probably all
put all their energy on that. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's just mention it. Be like, hey, just have a guy sitting in a dark room and going like, hey, we got stuff to show you at some point. We're very excited for you guys to see Final Fantasy 16. We're hard at work on it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be awesome. Just fucking, give us something. Show us some concept art real quick. I mean, I'm not picky, but nothing, dude. And it was like, after playing, most Final Fantasies and being a fan of them and playing 15 and enjoying it, I'm ready for the next mainline Final Fantasy. And, didn't get anything for it. So that's probably my biggest disappointment. And again, not biggest disappointment in the sense of like, you guys fucked up, but more so like I hyped myself up hoping to see that. Didn't get to see it. So whatever. That's my own fault. That's why you don't set expectations that you don't have reason to believe in, and you definitely don't get pissed when it doesn't happen because that's your own goddamn fault.
Yeah.
So yeah, biggest disappointment. There's quite a bit of disappointments though with the C3, but those are the ones that really I was like, would have been cool to see those.
Yeah.
Would have been cool. Next one we will move into is Best Surprise. I'll go first.
Okay.
So my shout outs are two things. First one is Trek to Yomi, which you guys saw a couple minutes ago in this reel.
I'm going to agree with that one.
Trek to Yomi was a really cool surprise. It's for anyone who maybe didn't get to see it, it's a like black and white Kurosawa-esque looking. Kurosawa-esque is kind of weird to say. I've never said it in my life. Kurosawa-esque game that looks black and white, has the old timey film look to it. Speak of the devil. And it's a samurai game. It's a side-scrolling game. And not only had I never heard of it, I saw it and instantly was into it. I mean, we're big fans of fucking Japanese stuff in general here, but also like samurai stuff, ninja stuff in some ways. Easy sell, especially samurai shit. Like you show me a katana and some fucking samurai armor and shit, I'm into it. And after playing Ghost of Tsushima, seeing a game like that, I'm like, dude, let's get more fucking Japanese style games. Like, I'm so into it. So huge surprise, and one of the best surprises because I had no idea it existed. On top of that, if you're watching right now, my other shout out is Replaced, and in my notes it says Replaced looks sick. Because it does. If you're listening right now, Replace is a side-scrolling 2D game, seemingly very story-centric, that is kind of using 3D graphics and also like very advanced pixel-looking stuff.
It's beautiful,
and it's a gorgeous-looking game. We don't have the music playing, but the music in the trailer was fucking dope, and it's got like choreography and shit going on with like the fight scenes and stuff. This was like when I first saw it, like as soon as it started, I'm like, what is that? And as it went further,
yeah.
I was like, holy shit, that looks like a Devolver game almost, except for it's a little higher quality. Yeah, those are my shout outs though. Replaced looks sick. I'm very excited to see where that game goes, and Trek to Yomi. So 2 side scrolling games are some of my favorite surprises. 2 indie games. Yeah. There's a lot of indie games I want to play though, so because they're always the most out there, the ones that I don't expect. They get me excited.
They're the ones going outside the box.
Yeah,
so
they're like the artiste games. Like people are really trying to do something with these fucking games. Whereas like the AAA games, they're gonna look great, they're gonna play great. Hopefully,
it's Pepsi and Coke. Yeah,
100%. It's just that, they got the secret sauce and it's gonna work. Yeah. But the ones that are like you're taking the risk by trying them out, and the people making them are taking a risk. That shit excites me. My best surprise though for E3 2021 though is Battlefield 2042. Also in my notes, looks sick. Big Battlefield fan, was hoping to see Battlefield 2042 and be excited about it. It exceeded my expectations. It looks fucking awesome. I can't wait to play it. The setting looks like Battlefield 3 and 4, but slightly futuristic. I was a little worried about it, but seeing the gameplay, it looks fine. Yeah. Like the scale's insane. The amount of players. I mean, if you played modded servers on PC, it's nothing too crazy, but it's 128 people. News just came out that you probably like. That and people are so confused about this. I don't get it. They have an AI that fills spots that no one's playing. So if you play by yourself or with friends co-op, you can fill the whole server with AI.
Weird.
Yeah, which makes sense because for a while now they've been talking about how EA had patented some AI technology to play
they kind
against
of fooled
you.
around with that with Titanfall 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to play Battlefield 2042 by yourself with friends only on the same team or online. And if spots don't get filled, they'll get filled by AI. And a lot of people are like, well, they're not going to have problems getting these servers filled. I'm like, well, yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
but
what
also
about 5 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like the game, as long as the servers are up, or if you have access to play this game without servers, if you're just playing by yourself or with friends, it's a forever game.
And it's actually really smart.
My biggest fucking question on it is how advanced is the AI? I'm curious about what they've done with the
Especially
AI.
with the big ass maps.
Is it? Yeah. Do they play the game good? Like if they do, that's awesome. Like you have so many options to play this game, and that shows also that when they didn't make that fucking campaign that I don't give a shit about, they had time to work on features like this.
Yeah.
That make it so like, hey, maybe you don't like online shooters. You don't have to play it online. You just play with fucking the bots or play with your friends. Do co-op.
It's still level and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Rank up.
I think it's great news, and it doesn't affect people who don't want to play like that. There's a lot of people who are like really negative about everything, but
can I just say right now that if anything, but we're talking about games, if a game's going to release a feature that doesn't affect your ability to play and enjoy it, why do you care?
I just think for the most part they don't understand, but they want to have like whatever they feel. The first thing they say or think or feel, they just throw it out there and just fucking say something. I always read it. I'm like, dude, if I was like talking to you in real life, like I wouldn't be a dick in real life. On the internet, I might be, but like, I'd stop and go like, but did you think about this though? Like, and by the end of that conversation, they'd be like, well, yeah, I mean, like, I always said this, but you know, that makes sense. Like, you know, you can rationalize these things, and if it sucks, it sucks, whatever. But we don't know
exactly.
But to instantly hear like
conceptually, it's cool though.
To hear like, you know, maybe you have 127 people on the server, one of those guys is gonna be a bot now, and you're like,
either you're like, that's never going to happen, which it will. Eventually, at some point, it's going to happen. Or, it's like, well, why do you need that? Well, why the fuck not?
It's going to intentionally happen
Yeah.
day one because there are people who don't want to play with you.
The biggest thing that I think will ruin it is if the AI sucks.
Sure.
Because then you're not, or that's too good, which would make it suck.
I think that would be almost worse.
Yeah.
But
So we don't know. I'm not saying it's going to be an amazing thing, but the prospect, what it can be, is cool. And I think more games will do it. I always appreciate older games. You see this more often than newer games. Bot support.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound exciting for people who only want to play online, but you're probably hopping to the next game when it comes out the next year. But when you're playing a game like fucking, I don't know, Quake 3 back in the day, or like, something.
Yeah, you're playing with like 3 friends, but you wanted to fill the room. You put bots in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they play just fine. You could change the difficulty. So like
They
you
still
always
add an element of danger.
and you could always just play with people. You have enough people to play with too. Like the options are good.
Yeah.
It makes the game's longevity last longer. And when games have spikes like Battlefield 4 is happening right now, they had just had to upgrade server capacity for Battlefield 4
After that advertisement,
because a bunch of people are playing it again. I was like, I think I'm gonna download it because like Battlefield 4 was fun.
Tempting.
I think it was free on Amazon Prime too.
Yeah,
whatever their weird system is. Yeah, I don't have it on PC. I have it on PS4, but I would definitely buy it again. But anyway, I'm going off on a thing. Battlefield 2042 was my biggest and best surprise of E3. And you might be thinking like, there's all these games you had no idea were coming out. Those didn't do anything for you. They all did pretty much. I love the surprises, but my hesitancy to allow myself to get excited for Battlefield, even though it was kind of hard to do that because I was starting to get kind of like, I haven't been excited for Battlefield in a long time. They have an opportunity here, and they did it. And that's cool because it feels like a return for me as a fan of older Battlefield games. So for me, it might not be the best, answer, but for me, it was the best surprise. I like that I got to be excited for Battlefield again. It was a surprise for me. I didn't expect it. So,
yeah. So surprises, right? So the 2 indie games you brought up, I completely agree with. Those were it's kind of the pleasant thing about indie games in general. Those you're never really expecting them, so they're always surprises.
Yeah,
and they just have to be really good ones. So then to give my runner-up is actually Battlefield as well because it was my runner-up for biggest excitement or banger or whatever phrasing you want to use.
best in show.
Yeah,
It's the more proper way.
And for a lot of the same reasons, I've already brought it up, but I kind of had fallen out, and it very, very easily drew me back in. Now I just gotta hope the game isn't garbage because they're getting a second chance out of me. So, so I just hope it's really good. But for what they showed, it was a surprise, 100%, and a very good one.
Yeah.
Because I don't play a lot of shooters, and so the one I did play when they started ruining it, I was bummed.
Yeah, it was funny because like I was like, man, there's like a new Battlefield coming out, and they're coming back to like something I think a lot of people are gonna like. And if we can not have some kind of controversy, just no speed bumps, they just release this game and it's good, that's great. And I was getting kind of excited. And I saw the trailer, I was like, I don't like the music, but like, the themes look kind of cool. They did a good job with the cinematic or whatever. But when we saw that gameplay, dude, I was like, I was like, I want to play this right now. Like, I'm ready for this game to come out. It comes out this year, so
yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah.
Having
Game
said
of the year?
my biggest surprise was the moment the Forza trailer started. I'm sure gameplay wise it's gonna be Forza, but holy crap, the visuals are so amazing.
Yeah,
they're so good. And I already like the Horizon series. I'm not like a mega fan or anything like that, but they're fun games.
Yep.
And if I can just drive around and explore this beautiful world, that's just amazing. And it reminds me a lot of like the Flight Simulator game, where it's a very beautiful game, but that's not really my type of game. Versus like I can play Forza.
I tried to make it my type of game. I got scared. I didn't like when I got off the ground. I was like, I don't know how to fly planes in real life.
Wait, I don't know what I'm doing.
I was just going west. I was like, we'll find out where I'm going.
I mean, I felt that when I tried Elite Dangerous. I was like, uh-oh, I don't know how to pilot.
Yeah.
God, yeah, that trailer, I was literally at a loss for words when that trailer popped up.
So from my perspective, I'm like, there's a few things I say I'm a fanboy on, but I own it. I'm a Kojima fanboy. Like, I love Kojima. I can't do wrong. Even when he does wrong, I'm like, whatever. Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
I'm a fanboy in Gran Turismo. Like, I think Gran Turismo is better than Forza. Always has been, always will be, blah, blah, blah. Even when Forza has better sound design for their vehicles, all that shit. I'm like, Gran Turismo sound design's fine. Because the way the game plays is so much better. And people are like, graphics on this one's better, this one's better. I always think Gran Turismo looks more realistic. Forza Horizon is their arcade game. I think it's their better game. I think the Forza series, their motorsport, it's fine. It's whatever. It's not Gran Turismo. It's not good enough. But Forza Horizon is really fucking good. That being said, just kind of displaying my blind fanboyness of Gran Turismo, graphics on Forza Horizon are undeniable. Yeah. I just looked at it, I was like, whoa, they brought it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's wild.
They made a gorgeous game. Like,
yeah.
It's going to be tough for anybody to...
See, I'm not even like a graphics dude that much.
And then Halo looks the way it looks, and it's like, what the fuck's going on here?
I enjoy a good-looking game, but usually I'm just like, I was expecting graphics to go to this point. And then I saw Forza, I was like, that was not expected.
They're there.
Yeah.
We're going here while we're already there. I want to emphasize, too, I don't really got to say this for anybody who watches regularly, but, gameplay, of course, matters the most.
100%,
But
100%.
I am a fucking nerd when it comes to tech. And so, graphics excite me. And we're at a time where amazing graphics are pretty much everywhere. So if you can, the animations really is where you start kind of noticing where they might have lacked in modern quality, because you make a game on Unreal Engine, it's gonna look great by default.
It's the nuances that really elevate things. So,
and every trailer, and I do it all the time, and I'm self-aware on it, but we'll react to stuff, and one of the first things I always say is it looks so good, because I love graphics. I see a game looks gorgeous, I just have to fucking say something about it.
We're also in an age of new graphic technology right now. So
everything looks great if they're doing crazy shit. Yeah, it's an exciting time for someone like me who's really into graphics and shit. That being said, Forza Horizon 5, some of the best graphics I've ever seen in a game ever. When they were pausing, and this is a lot of games, you can pause a game, once you see the animations, it really gives it away. But if you freeze that game without motion, it looks pretty fucking real. Which is pretty crazy. And then in motion, it loses some of that. It's the uncanny valley thing, but fucking, it looks phenomenal. The cars look great. The lighting on the cars, the reflections on the cars.
That's that HDR, baby.
Yeah,
or ray tracing.
And if it's using ray tracing, it's really showing off there. And it's out of all the games, the two that stick out to me visually, Stalker 2 and Forza, I almost said Horchata, fucking Forza Horizon 5.
There's also that other game that's kind of like that weird sci-fi game. I cannot...
Silent Hill by Hideo Kojima, called Abandoned.
No, the one with weird robots and stuff like that, and
Atomic Heart.
Yeah, that game looks gorgeous.
That game's looked amazing since they first showed it, but it's got this weird Bioshock zaniness to it, but it's Russian. I'm so excited for that game too.
Yeah.
I hope that game is awesome. I hope that game's just good. I don't want it to be bad. I'll be so upset if it's bad.
Yeah, it's another visual
but
spectacle.
Stalker 2 and fucking Forza Horizon 5 really blew my mind.
Yeah, they're good looking games for sure.
Yeah.
So that was definitely my biggest surprise though, because
sorry, I kind of took over.
No, it's
fine.
I
was thinking about it.
assume we're getting a Forza every year because they alternate or whatever.
Yeah. I'd like to see what they do with
I was not expecting such a jump, though.
Yeah.
So.
And the year of the bow and the year of the boy seems like the year of the storm is coming with games. So that's really interesting because a lot of games we saw had, probably because you can do pretty crazy particle effects nowadays, storm systems and shit. So
we'll also improve load times across the board.
Yep. So you can load shit in like that seamlessly.
Because SSDs are standard.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's going to be great because loading capabilities are going to make nuances in games more able to be realized. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything else?
No.
That
was pretty much my big two. When you brought up the indie games, I was like, yeah, those were good ones too because I wasn't expecting those at all. So.
Yeah, it's always weird. I don't play a lot of indie games, but when I see one that really stands out, I get really excited about it, and I typically always play them. I always buy them. I don't play them on Game Pass, and if you do, it's cool. But I'm very big advocate of supporting shit you love, and especially smaller companies and stuff like that, smaller devs. If you can, definitely try and support those games. Going into War Surprise, I started last time, so we'll go to you.
To be honest, I don't have anything for this.
No? You weren't surprised at how bad Gearbox was? No, why would
I
you
had
be?
zero
No
expectations of
yeah.
Gearbox. They don't make anything for me. So
Maybe I can, and if you don't have anything, that's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe I can jar something for you, though.
Okay.
So, one of my worst surprises, and this is something that surprised me that I'm not happy with necessarily, and this can change. This doesn't mean I'm not locked into shit. You're talking to the wrong guy if you think that. My shout out is the Avatar game. Here, I'm gonna say something. It might upset some people, and also might make some closeted people excited. I actually enjoy the Avatar movie. I know a lot of people fucking hate it. They're like, it's been done, story, everything, almost everything has been.
such a bad reasoning.
Yeah, whatever. There's so many movies that have similar stuff to it. They were fun movies, and the 3D at the time was fucking amazing. I don't think anyone's outdone it really. But anyway, so I'm not I hate Avatar guy. Am I clamoring to play an Avatar game? Not really. I feel like I played it when I was in it in the 3D. That being said, this is being made by the people who make The Division, which is interesting. Honestly, I've been making jokes for a while that it's literally going to be The Division only on
Pandora.
Thank you. I was gonna say AWA, but that's the God thing. The Earth or some shit. The reason it's one of the worst surprises is like not only did I not, I mean, I knew that some kind of Avatar game was being worked on, but what we saw didn't do anything for me at all and looked so underdeveloped. And for anybody who already doesn't like Avatar and doesn't think we need an Avatar game, this didn't do anything for them. This didn't sway them. This didn't do shit. They should have waited till they had gameplay. And if the gameplay sucks, then they have a problem already. But I don't know if they know. I mean, Avatar fucking is the most viewed movie. It took the spot back because it re-released, I think in China or some shit like that. But I think they're looking at that number going like, everybody loves Avatar. It's like, have you been on the fucking internet? Avatar comes up, people fucking hate Avatar. It's crazy. People fucking hate it. So it's like, it's...
In all fairness, you go on Twitter and mention anything.
No, but Avatar's really...
People hate what you say. So
Even outside of Twitter, like fucking... And I'm a movie fucking nerd. But other fucking fellow movie nerds fucking hate Avatar. They hate it. And it's like, it's James Cameron, dude. James Cameron's fucking so good at action. Anyway, I digress. This trailer and this reveal did nothing for nobody. And was not expecting it. When it was revealed, I literally was like, in my brain, like, oh no. Oh no. And they didn't show anything exciting. And the graphics don't look that great. It was just kind of a dud, it felt like. And then, like I said, it's coming from a guy who doesn't hate Avatar. So, that's my shout out. On a similar note, the exact same thing happened to something I feel confused about. A game was revealed and I still feel confused about it. That's not a thing I normally feel when it comes to game reveals. I'm rather like, it wasn't that great, could have been better, blah, blah, blah. This game was shown though, and I was like, I don't fucking know. Like, I'm probably going to play it. The game's Redfall. It seems to be a 4-player co-op hero, not shooter like I almost said Avatar, Overwatch. But it just seems like you're gonna be running around shooting. It looks like Left 4 Dead with powers, but you're fighting vampires. The trailer tonally was fucking all over the place. Anything that looked slightly cool was fucking eclipsed by shit that was weird looking. Some of the magic spells looked cool, but then the character models fucking seemed like it's something out of Fortnite. And it was like one of the last things, if not the last thing they showed off, like it was the big reveal. I think it was the Xbox event. Mm-hmm. It showed Forza Horizon 5, looks amazing. And then they end it with a game they didn't have gameplay for. Just this weird cinematic. And like, I know somebody out there probably was very excited to see that trailer, but everyone I've talked to didn't do anything for anybody. So it was a surprise, and in my opinion, the worst surprise, because like they didn't do much to really sell this game to anyone, in my opinion. I know if you're watching this and you're excited for this game, I'm not speaking for you, and I'm not trying to. I'm not even trying to change your mind. That's your fucking opinion. But in my own personal experience, I don't know anybody who's excited for it. And the thing that's weird though is if I'm correct on what this game is, if it's just like a 4-player co-op shooter with vampires, I'm probably gonna play it.
I'm not, but yeah.
Because I like games like that. And if they do cool stuff with it, I'll enjoy it. It's being made by Arcane. Arcane's proven in what they do. But holy shit, it was so tonally everywhere. And they didn't offer anything that I was like needing to play. So, yeah. That's my worst surprise. It was a big surprise. And as I was watching, I was hoping something was going to happen in that fucking trailer that would get me like, oh, okay, this is it. That's what they're selling this game on. Never happened. By the time it was over and showed Redfall in the fucking text, I was just like, let's hope the gameplay's cool, because I don't know what the hell you're trying to sell me here. Well, I do think I know what you're trying to sell me, but you didn't sell it that well. So that's my worst surprise, honestly. Yeah. So anything else you want to say? All right, moving forward, I will go first, and this is best presentation. Which is pretty much any presentation that was shown during this time period, during this week. My first shout out goes to Summer Game Fest. I think Jeff Keighley is really good at honing his craft. He's passionate. He's one of the last dudes in the business that I have a lot of respect for in what he does. And every time he does these events, they always get better. They're a little janky, but they're not bad.
He seems to genuinely care. So.
Oh, he's so into it, and he devotes so much of himself to these things. Summer Game Fest was a lot more streamlined than the last one. It was a good presentation. It didn't waste a lot of time on dumb shit. It had a lot of stuff to show. It showed Elden Ring. Jeff Keighley's likable. They had the music segments that don't do anything for me at all, like Weezer or the fuck. That was Summer Game Fest.
And the celebrities.
Right? Yeah. Which is the weaker elements to it for sure. I don't give a fuck about celebrities, but they had great stuff to show. He brought it. I think he had one of the best presentations of anybody. And I mean, he pretty much said he was gonna. He was like, I'm really excited. You guys should be excited. This is gonna be awesome, and it was. So nailed it. Definitely deserves a shout out. But the best presentation, in my opinion, was Xbox. Not a surprise for me. I think Xbox. Always really brings it when they do their presentations. If there's one thing Xbox is comfortable in when it comes to advertising, it's big, expensive presentations. Phil Spencer is a super likable dude in gaming, whether you like Xbox, PlayStation. The dude's a cool dude. Always good to see him. He comes off as just like a normal fucking gamer, nerd type guy. The presentation was streamlined and have a lot of segments where you had to listen to people talk about dumb shit you don't care about. Had a lot of games to show. They showed off a lot of shit, even though everything they're showing comes out next year. Almost everything Xbox showed off is coming out in 2022. We finally got to look at a lot of stuff.
And a small glimmer of hope for Halo. So...
I mean, if it plays like Halo, I'm gonna enjoy it, but graphically, it's not doing much for me. But
no, but seeing the multiplayer part was
it's gonna be free though, which is so weird.
It is, well, like I said, it's a small glimmer of hope, but the multiplayer looked pretty faithful. So kind of keep an eye on that now, because Halo multiplayer is just fun. So
yeah, and most people know our opinions because we're pretty much on the same page when it comes to Bethesda. Them being assimilated into Xbox did them a favor presentation wise. This is the most tolerable and digestible Bethesda's ever been when it comes to doing a presentation. They literally let fucking Todd Howard out of his cage. He came out, he rattled off some stuff about Starfield. He got the fuck out of there. He didn't have to do the rest of the thing awkwardly. We saw just Starfield real quick. It wasn't the best video for it, but straight and to the point. You got a gist of what it's going to be like, and they moved the fuck on. And then anytime they had more Bethesda stuff, it was just intermingled with more Xbox stuff. That's the way it should have always been. So, welcome to the family, Bethesda. You're fucking better suited being owned by Xbox than you were on your own when it comes to the way you present shit. Hopefully, Xbox's guidance can help Bethesda maybe come back, for me personally, and a growing number of people I know. Because more and more over the years, people have kind of hopped off the Bethesda train. Big hopes for Starfield and
Can only be abused for so long, man.
Elder Scrolls. Oh yeah, 100%. But yeah, Xbox's presentation was great. I knew it was going to be good. They really brought it. They had some big games that looked really good. Lack of actual exclusives, but still like a lot of games that you're gonna be able to play day one on Game Pass, which is kind of crazy. Actually, really crazy. I looked at a list of all the games they showed. It's almost every game they showed is gonna be day one on Game Pass. They're really fucking coming in rough with that shit.
Yeah,
Really,
it's great value. So
it's insane. It's fucking insane. I'm gonna be buying all those games, but like, some of them maybe I'll play on Game Pass, so I could save maybe the ones I'm kind of iffy on. But for anybody who's just like using Game Pass regularly or planning on it, you got a lot of games to look forward to day one. You don't know how long they're gonna be on Game Pass, but you're gonna be able to play when they come out. You'll be able to have an opinion on all these fucking games when they come out. So very cool. And all the high profile games I'm talking about, most of them are on Game Pass day one. So that's really crazy. But yeah, Xbox came out. They showed the games people want to see. They surprised people with stuff. They offered you great value, and they didn't preach to you, and they didn't fucking tell you about how they're humans too, and fucking they think people should treat people good. Which so do all of us.
Allow me to discuss the ethics of our business.
Yeah, it's like no one gives a fuck. We all think murder's bad. Get to the games. So yeah, Xbox knocked it out of the park. No big surprise. Shout out. Devolver's presentation, their
show,
their episode in the saga was a lot of fun, and it was really cool that we had some people on the stream with us who have not seen Devolver's things before, because there's people going like, "What's going on?"
Might I recommend watching the? It is a series.
Yeah. There's canon. Like go back and watch the episodes, but it was fun seeing people's reactions to like not knowing this was a thing.
Starting off as like huge question marks of going like, I kind of like this. It's fun. Like
and they put a lot of work and writing and everything into them. Like and they get people who like perform really well these ridiculous scenarios. So that's another shout out. But yeah, I think Xbox just barely did better than Summer Game Fest. So
yeah,
across the board, there was no Weezer for Xbox. So
thank you.
That was appreciated for sure. Yeah,
it's not going to happen too because the advertising departments don't have the same mindset necessarily as developers, and they're just trying to sell a game. And what sells a game is commercial music.
Yeah.
So if we can get them to stop making trailers, that'd be great. That'd be
start making your own fucking music.
Yeah, or
or royalty free, or make a deal with people.
Yeah, exactly.
So we don't get fucked.
Make it a little more friendly to your community. You're getting so much free advertising; it's insane.
Oh yeah.
So that being said, my top, we'll go to my shout out is going to be Nintendo. It was more of what I expect from them, but they do it well. It's
clean, dude. They come in quick and dirty.
Talk, but it's no fluff talk. So clean. And it's the only complaint I had about it is they spent a little too much time in the beginning on the Smash stuff, and I know there's an audience for that, but it did feel a little long. So
people love Smash.
Sure, but
how dare you?
They had so much other stuff, and it did feel like they were kind of in a rush to fit the rest of it in there. So
it's so funny how expected a new character in Smash, which is awesome, especially if you're a Smash fan. It's like 100%. Dope. You always get new characters, but every time there is a Nintendo Direct, people are like, I wonder what character, like they instantly start speculating what Smash character is going to be revealed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's a regular thing now, and I think it's kind of, even though I don't play Smash a whole lot, I think it's kind of cool to have that known expectation of like, we're getting something.
Yeah. Well, and the Nintendo one's also fun for me too, because I actually don't play a lot of first-party Nintendo games. I appreciate them, but a lot of them just aren't really necessarily like for me. I'm a huge Pokemon fan though, so that's an easy one. But it's still an enjoyable show, and I never feel like they drag on too long on any particular thing. Most of the time, like I said, I do feel like the beginning was a little long, and I think the rest of the show kind of suffered for it because I don't feel like they spent enough time on certain other things as well.
Yeah.
And then the other company I'm gonna throw out there with the best presentation or performance or whatever you want to say, for me is also Xbox. But I think at this point I think we say that pretty much every year, and that just shows that. And I don't even really play a lot of Xbox games, man.
I know. A lot of people would assume we're probably Sony fanboys.
There's going to be some extent of truth to that.
More so, you play almost everything you play is on PC, and I'm on my PC most of the time too. But if I'm playing console, I'm playing my PS5.
Yeah, though I have played my Switch a lot lately.
Yeah,
but that being said, Microsoft knows how to put on a conference. They have the right amount of talking. They have the right amount of game stuff going on, and they cover a lot of bases. Honestly think their only weak point, and on a personal level, is they don't have a lot of necessarily like JRPGs, but that's really not their bread and butter either.
But this year they did show some JRPGs.
They did show some, yeah.
Yeah.
They're really good about trying to. Don't get me wrong.
They try.
And they
know the demographic though.
Yeah, for sure. And that's more on a personal level. But that does go into my, they have a good balance of titles they show off.
Yeah.
They show off something for everybody, for the most part. I think Nintendo is definitely for everybody, but I think some people also take that as kids only, which I think is kind of a weird way to look at that. But
yeah.
Yeah. And overall, I mean, even when it wasn't something I wanted to play, I'm not going to play Flight Sim to bring that back up again. But seeing it and seeing what they're adding to it is cool because it is a very neat game, and I'm glad something like that still exists because honestly, I can't imagine the demand's that high.
No, there's all new demand because they made the game. There's people who would have never played a game like that or didn't play games like that, but in the past, whether they're young or they've never played games like that, who are into it now. So I mean, there's a whole new generation of people who are enjoying that game because Microsoft took the chance of making something they used to make.
Well, and then completely going crazy tech-wise with it. Like that. Yeah. How many games have that kind of cloud-based backup happening with it and satellite imaging and stuff?
Yeah, and the tech definitely is its own thing. But the idea of them bringing a flight simulator is kind of crazy, but also Age of Empires.
Yeah, bringing that back too. RTSs are for the most part dead.
Yeah.
Which I hate to say because I enjoy them.
There's indie developers out there that make them, but they're not mainstream.
Seeing Age of Empires being made, will it be good? Hopefully, but seeing it being made is a ray of hope in that regard too. The only other company I know of that really kind of makes RTSs gave that up for an MMO. So
yeah.
And then the other RTS they kind of stopped supporting. But I'm not going to try to bash on them too much this episode. Overall, they just put on a great show, and I'm never bored, and it's always a fun spectacle. Their stage always looks cool, and that might sound weird to some of you, but that's part of the show, right?
Yeah.
If we're just talking about we already brought up what stuff game wise was the most exciting, but we're talking about a presentation, right? And that's, I think they just bring the whole package every year. Every year they just bring the whole thing. So
it's a good presentation when I don't go to check my phone, but it's an even better one when the presentation's over and it doesn't even feel like the time passed.
Yeah.
That's the best. When I go, this is 30 minutes, and then you go through and it feels like 2 minutes. You're like, oh shit, it's already over.
Yeah.
Because you're so into it. And the Xbox presentation, for the most part, felt like that. I never felt bored, even on stuff I wasn't that interested in. I definitely was enjoying myself watching it.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
and again, not everything there was for me, and I can still say that because it doesn't have to always be for me, right? I can still appreciate that they're taking these random risks, like making a flight sim game, making an RTS again, making one of the craziest looking racing games I've seen. Microsoft's willing to do it, and someone needs to be, and it's good. So,
for sure. Yeah, like you said earlier, we pretty much every year just praise Xbox's fucking presentations. It's nothing new at this point. So it's really funny because the very few times that anyone call me a Sony pony or where the fuck, I'm like, dude, I give Microsoft a lot of praise.
They have a lot of good things. It's just the one thing, that everyone it's
they're just not
beating a dead horse. At
they're
this
not
point,
aggressively trying to lock me into a console.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Other than that, they have the best value for your money when it comes to playing games.
Sure.
So it's different things. So
You know, and not to make this that conversation, but like
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, in my position, you know, and yours, but I'm not
Yeah.
going to speak for you. I can play everything that they offer on my PC, so why wouldn't I? Why would I buy another piece of hardware, right? I still have access to the games, which is great, and I don't have an issue with that. The conversation obviously though comes. It is a little disappointing when you don't get to buy that new toy.
like I said, I love tech, dude. I almost bought an Xbox just to own it, but I did that last gen, and it sits.
Same with mine. Yeah.
So I had to convince myself to not do the Seth thing and just buy the new shiny thing.
Yeah.
Because I can play all the new shiny games on my old shiny PC.
Yeah.
So.
That has all the same tech in it.
But
So-
we don't got to talk about this dead horse. We don't got to kick it.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, but the whole point is getting excited for a Microsoft conference is still there though.
Yeah, it's nice with what we just described.
Yeah.
We can still fucking be excited for Xbox and know they're going to fucking bring it and enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, these are games we're going to get to play.
I'm going to get to play Forza, and it's going to look beautiful.
Yep.
My fans are going to probably go crazy, but it'll be beautiful.
Yeah,
So-
that's the thing I'm worried about.
Yeah.
It's like, is my computer going to be happy playing that game?
It'll get a little warm.
Hopefully it's optimized well.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have issues like that very often.
No. That's the beauty of buying a first party game, though.
Yeah.
Most of the time is that they play.
Yep.
So,
Anything else?
nope. I think everything you mentioned, I would also just say as honorable mentions. Just because they were the other good shows. Everything else that we didn't mention was, in my opinion, at the bare minimum or lower.
Yeah. I was going to give some shout outs to other ones, but I don't want to reveal what my obvious least favorite presentations are, which we're going to go into next. So, but yeah, shout outs to the decent presentations out there that weren't like the biggest bangers, but weren't bad either. Some people had some in between presentations that had some ups and downs, but they weren't. I didn't leave it going like, well, what the fuck was that? So
Maybe you should have. No.
which yeah, maybe. Which if you're ready, we can head into.
Yeah.
And you can start us off since I went first last time.
I'm gonna make it real easy because I already gave him shit once. Bandai Namco.
Is your most like
That's the most disappointing.
shout out?
Yeah, I think it was the weakest one because they didn't have an excuse.
Yeah.
Like the Warner Brothers one's a shout out, I guess, but at the same time, like they don't really have anything, anyways.
Batman games.
Sure, but they could. I mean, they honestly should have probably not been there.
Or just
Been
fucking
part of
release
Microsoft,
the
yeah.
trailer
Yeah,
on YouTube while E3 is happening. It's gonna get watched. Or get in a presentation.
yeah. Games Fest would have had you.
They needed
Microsoft
a
would have had
9-minute
ya.
segment presentation to tell you that Back 4 Blood's got multiplayer when in 2 to 3 minutes you could.
You needed a slot that was 9 minutes.
Yeah,
like it's a weird one.
It seems wasted for sure. I think Bandai Namco is a really good one that I didn't think about though because it is. I mean, I'm thinking of worst presentation. As a disappointment though, I get it for sure because they do have the stuff to show.
Well, and there's
And
no
they just-
presentation.
They just didn't. So yeah, worst present. That's a good point. The presentation was one game. It was.
they had
it
a
wasn't
dev
like-
talk about a game.
Yeah, that's fair.
And again, this a lot of this has to do with more so this being a conference, supposed conference, I should say. Obviously, there's people who didn't treat it that way, and this I think is an example that they treated it as a moment to have a spotlight on them. But I think it completely fucking misses the point, man. So
Yeah,
it's a bummer. I'm not even like a huge Bandai Namco fan. They just have some stuff coming out I want to know more
that
about.
we've already seen. We already know.
Yeah.
So it's like, where was it? Like, if I'm disappointed that Final Fantasy 16 wasn't shown because I've already seen it and they didn't show this time, you've been showing the fuck out of your games, Bandai Namco, and then you're just like, You're not gonna acknowledge you have them. You should be like, hey, this horror game that is the least interesting thing we got coming. This is it. That's the whole presentation.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean,
that just screamed to me that like this game's coming out soonish. Will you guys buy it? We need to sell it.
It's just a bummer because regardless of your stance on like the types of games they make, they have a whole catalog and they ignored all of it. So
yeah, they have some like MMO they're working on. People call it MMO, and I would love to know more about it.
Well, games that are currently out that maybe they're working on DLCs for or something too. Like
yeah, they could have easily done like 30 minutes of random stuff, or even I don't know if I'd say an hour unless they had like a long gameplay video, but
I don't think most companies need an hour slot. Most probably only need 30 minutes.
Only the gigantic ones like Xbox and stuff. Or if Sony was still doing E3, they would easily be able to do that. But they do the in and out fucking state of plays. So
it's cool. We got something to show now. So show up in 2 days and we'll show you.
Yeah. Although EA soon is going to be doing a thing of their own, revealing. They said an old fan favorite that they're going to be making again. A lot of people think it's Dead Space.
That would be interesting.
If it's done well, dope. If it's not, it's fucking more EA.
So this is off topic. It's on brand topic for what you're talking about right now. But
Tastecast. I don't give a fuck.
I really hope that pause they took for rebranding and stuff like that. I hope this is like Battlefield and all this other stuff is a sign of that. And I hope it's just not a temporary bandage fix. And the next round of games after this, they're back to their old bullshit. Because EA's got a ton of like big titles under their belt, and they have recently been doing a real good job of fucking them all up.
Yeah, EA is really good at that. BioWare's really good at making great games and diluting that experience. So it's like a match, and then Battlefield or DICE. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I don't know. I hope like the EA Sports did the game back in the day. Remember that? Fucking I don't know if they still say it or not because I don't play EA Sports games, but hopefully their games will just start like EA. Fucking we shut the fuck up and make fun games now.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
And it's like nice. Yeah, keep your mouth shut. Just make good games.
Well, and like
make fun things. Doesn't have to be the best thing ever. Doesn't have to win every award. But just make fun shit.
At least in the case of DICE, right? They've turned around and they put the time in to fix Battlefront 2. And then obviously they've been putting some effort into their new game because it's looking very good. And it looks faithful, and that's what I want to see. And then you just brought up that they're putting new tech in there to they're thinking longevity.
Yep,
which is great. And I think all the big companies are going to do that anyway.
Which they abandoned Battlefield 5.
Yeah,
they had all these plans for it, and then like they support it for a while, but then they're also like, we're done supporting.
I think they knew they needed to start over.
Yeah, which was smart.
Yeah,
they backed off midway through the development of that game. They literally released this thing saying like, we went a little overboard with this game. We're going to try and tone it down a bit, which I think is responsible. And they stopped talking shit. So it's like, they never like apologize for that, but it doesn't, I'm not the type of person who's going to demand that.
No,
but,
they're a company. All they care about is money.
But they did shut the fuck up. There's no, the fans who think this, at least we think they think this, they should go fuck themselves. Like there's none of that. So, yeah, they're on, it seems like they're on the right path. And I hope the rest of EA will follow suit.
Yeah, so and that's my whole thing is like they are a mega corporation, right? Yeah. And like their whole thing just really needs to be because they're not like a personal company. If they want to try to work on that, I mean, I welcome that. But at the end of the day, they do just need to make a product. And if it's not the product their customers want, they need to work. It's a business relationship with them, and that's how it needs to be. It's not like
something so many people forget nowadays.
Yeah, versus like these smaller companies. It's like a great example. The guy who makes Stardew Valley, super active, like talking to the people who play his game. And anytime they have a problem, he tries to personally fix it all the time. Does he have to do that? Hell no. That game sold plenty. He could be done.
He could do it. The guy who made that Freddy game, the Five Nights at Freddy's thing,
retire.
Just bail,
yeah.
I'm not getting into the reason he did that. You guys can look that up, but because I'm not having that conversation. But yeah, he just was like, I made my money. I'm fucking out of here. Which I kind of get. Like, if you're a small indie developer and you made your bag of money, and you run into a situation where people do what they do on the internet and get pissed at you, and you could just fuck off like Notch.
Or if they dude who made Fez or whatever threw a fit and ran off. So.
Yeah, that guy was fucking annoying though. He's
Sure.
a pretentious little nerd. But same thing, yeah. I mean, I get it. If you can do it, do it. But
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about anymore. But
It was basically EA's relationship with us needs to be customer or
oriented,
supply and demand essentially.
Yeah.
And
You're selling a product. You're not changing the world here.
Yeah. And when your customers have criticisms, your devs, as much as like they can have their own personal opinions or whatever like that, but they do represent you as a whole company.
Yeah.
And that does need to be taken into consideration. So if you want to take that route, there are consequences to all actions, positive and negative. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. And if you got an opinion you want to spout off, and then you start to not get sales because of that opinion, and then you start bitching about it, go fuck yourself. Like that does not need to be explained to you. If you don't get what's going on there, or you're somehow surprised that people aren't going to do business with you, maybe you shouldn't be part of a company. Maybe you shouldn't be running a business.
Yeah, if I put raisins in my food all the time and I'm selling that to you and you keep telling me I don't like these raisins, and I start yelling at you because you don't like raisins.
If I start making up why you don't like those raisins.
Well, I'm trying to be not too invested
specific.
in this, but
yeah, for sure. The point makes sense though.
Yeah. It's my fault when people stop buying my raisin infested food. So
100%. You want to make that shit and then fucking bitch when people don't buy it.
Yeah.
And then tell them they fucking suck 'cause they don't. Yeah. It's stupid. So yeah. Anything else?
Seriously, Bandai Namco, what the fuck were you doing this year?
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I kind of feel like I should update my list, but I'm gonna stick with mine. Shout out Take-Two Interactive. They had a panel.
I forgot you were even
But they took up a slot to tell people about social stuff that absolutely nobody is tuning into E3 for. I didn't even watch it. I just heard a lot about it and heard that there was like no games.
Imagine being the Rockstar publisher.
Yeah. And you chose to do that.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
Worst presentation in the sense that what presentation? Why'd you show up? To do like a fucking class lecture? No one's here for that. So worst presentation. For me, worst presentation though was Gearbox. There's definitely competition. But Gearbox pissed me off. I felt insulted watching their presentation. It's the only presentation I watched I felt insulted.
That's a bad one, yeah.
You had some hiccups with Capcom, but it wasn't bad. You had some hiccups with Square Enix, but it wasn't bad. They showed off new games. They had shit to show. They had exciting new content to talk about. They got games coming down the pipeline.
Too long on one game, but
Bandai Namco did some fucking weird shit that I can't figure out. But Gearbox decided that they were going to vote their whole presentation, that was a pretty long sit, to showing you trailers they have already showed you on other presentations, and to tell you about a movie that most people watching E3 probably are not watching E3 to find out more on. Randy Pitchford, I get he's excited that he's making a bunch of money, and a game that he's responsible for in some ways is getting to be on the big screen. It's very exciting for him, and some movie stars are going to be in it. It's for him being able to walk around on a film set's probably really exciting. He's like, "Oh, Borderlands, this is my thing. I'm making so much money from this." That doesn't translate. I don't know anybody who watched that who fucking liked it. I didn't see anybody. In fact, I didn't see a whole lot of people, or hear a lot of people watch that who didn't complain about it as it happened. It was such a fucking waste of time. It didn't make me want to see the movie at fucking all. My only curiosity of that movie is to see if it's fucking horrible or not, or to see how they do. Eli Roth's made some interesting movies before, so I'm curious about that. But Gearbox's presentation did not make me want to see it. In fact, it made me want to not spend money on that movie because Randy Pitchford wasted my fucking time. He didn't respect my time. He had no interest in my time. He had interest in his time. He, like I said, it was masturbatory. The whole fucking presentation was Randy Pitchford being excited about his movie that someone's making. It wasn't done in a fun way. It was kind of awkward. A lot of people in the fucking on the set were acting kind of like why is he walking around with a fucking camera crew right now? Like what? We're filming this right now. And some of it seemed like they're in on it. Eli Roth seemed to play around a little bit with having fun with it and shit. But you brought people to the movie set. You didn't even it wasn't even exciting. You didn't even show anything. You just confirmed the movie's being fucking made. We know that. You confirmed who's in it, and you had them awkwardly come out and fucking wave at the camera. Like, hey, assholes, yeah, come watch the movie. You didn't show any fucking, character designs from the movie, early concept stuff. You didn't show any footage from it. I know it's being filmed right now, so I get that. It's, I'll be realistic about it, but nothing. You just wanted to go, hey, Borderlands movie, we're making one. I'm really excited about it. You guys should watch it. Oh, by the way, that fucking Tiny Tina thing that whatever the hell we're working on right now that you guys already watched, here's the same trailer. Watch it again. But also this movie, though, if you guys don't fucking know, I got a movie being made right now. So excited. It was dumb. It was horrible. It was the worst of the whole thing.
I'm Randy Pitch for Welcome to Jackass.
Yeah. Gearbox used to really like Gearbox a lot, and I still think that Borderlands is pretty good. But they don't make a whole lot of good games. I don't get excited for their games at all anymore. And now their presentation was about a fucking movie. A movie I don't give a shit about. Maybe it's good. Maybe I'll watch it and be like, you know what, that movie's actually pretty cool. I didn't want to watch the fucking behind the scenes of nothing. It was the most boring behind the scenes of a movie I've ever seen. And awkward as shit. So it was awful. It was awful. Fucking Bandai Namco, I think, is a really good pick just because it's like, why? Why'd you do that, Bandai Namco? But I wasn't angry at Bandai Namco. I was just like, what the fuck, dude? What are you doing? Gearbox is awful. It was really fucking bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Especially when other people just like really. I remember before we even watched it, I was like, what's Gearbox going to even fucking talk about? What do they have?
What do they make? Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? We got a fucking movie coming out. We need to let people know this shit's coming out. And they did that. And that's what they did. And no one gave a shit. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you're one of these people, like legitimately. I don't know if that presentation sold a ticket or not to that movie. Did anyone change their mind or decide they're going to watch it because of that?
I doubt it. I'm going to be completely honest too, is the people who are going to be probably interested in that movie are probably not the people watching E3.
Or playing Borderlands regularly. They heard of a Borderland before. Or maybe they played a co-op with a friend one time.
Well, it's just like, the Monster Hunter movie and the Resident Evil movies and stuff like that. The people who watch those were mostly people going to watch a movie and not people who are actually fans of it.
Or masochistic gamers.
Yeah.
Who just wanted to find out what
happened. The demo
is
just completely wrong because there's just this huge track record of disrespect towards the properties. So.
Yeah. And that's why it's the worst presentation for me. Gearbox is it didn't respect my time. It didn't respect me as a fan of any games that they've made. The very few now that I even have any shits to give. It was essentially someone pissing in my face and fucking telling me to thank them for it. So, worst one for sure. Yeah. I think that's about it for our categories. Anything else to say before we grade it?
I feel like next year there is going to be no excuses left.
I think we'll be done with excuses for sure.
So don't expect 100% reasonable, not reasonable, understanding, at least us next year, I guess.
Yeah, that will go into my grade. I'm going to be understanding to a degree, but not overly. It's not the excuse, but it is a part of the excuse.
Yeah.
Some of the things.
Yeah, we're definitely getting out of the that you can use that forever.
Yeah.
Territory.
Exacerbate shit at this point still, but I think the world has quickly learned to function in a new way, to the point where a lot of these presentations were unhindered by it now. So we learned the lessons already, or they did. I remember when Xbox was first starting to do their like Zoom style presentations, they're kind of weird and awkward. That's not a thing anymore. So if they can do it, everybody else can. Yeah. So let's know in the comments when it comes to those categories, your picks and general thoughts of E3. Although we will be reading those very soon. But let's get into our grade with everything that we've said so far. We don't really have to explain ourselves too much. What would you grade the whole entire experience of E3, including Summer Game Fest?
I think for every good moment, there was a bad moment. I think it's pretty even, to be honest.
That's fair.
Microsoft was good, Nintendo was good, Game Fest was good, right? And then Bandai Namco was disappointing. Take Two shouldn't have been there. Gearbox shouldn't have been there. Capcom was okay. And then Ubisoft was okay, right?
Yeah.
So it's a pretty even split.
No Dancing Panda.
That was disappointing. That's kind of like expected at this point.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, by that logic, I have to give it a C. It was like right down the middle, which is not what I want to say. I feel like I should be like excited and like had 4 days of just amazing content, and we just didn't get that, and it is really disappointing.
It was a rocky road for sure. It was bumpy. There
was some great stuff in there, and I'm glad we got to see it. But
yeah,
it was such a roller coaster, man. I just hope next year that I can at least give it a B range. So
yeah, I really wanted to give it a B minus, honestly, but I think I'm gonna give it a C plus. I get where you're coming from. When he says like a 50-50 split, I'm like, kind of. Like to every degree. Every major banger had a major disappointment. Everything that was good, there was bad. Everything that was kind of like, it's kind of cool looking, had kind of like, nah, I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
It was really across the board all over the fucking place in that sense. So yeah, I agree with that. I'm giving it the C plus though, because with the excuse of things being kind of weird right now, certain people struggled, other people didn't, and they did really good jobs, and their presentations are great, and there are some really cool looking fucking games shown, and some stuff I'm really excited about, and we did get some of the big surprises we're hoping for. So it delivered in some ways. So I gotta give it a little more. I really want to give it a B, but I wasn't in love with the whole experience. I always enjoy talking about it. The experience of this is fun, but some of those presentations, if they weren't there, I don't think would have changed. I mean, it might have been better without them, honestly, which sounds kind of fucking weird.
I mean,
would have streamlined the experience. I wouldn't have wasted my time.
Yeah, if you got nothing weighing you down, then it does overall make it a better time. So
yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a C plus, a strong C plus, but C plus. So yeah, C plus. Let us know in the comments what do you guys think of the whole thing, all of EA, fucking E3. What would you grade it? Think about it. Try and be fair about it. I know some people were really fucking upset with this E3. I know some people were defending it, and I don't know a whole lot of people who are super in love with this E3. So I feel like we're gonna get some F's, some D's, some C's, maybe some B's. But yeah, let us know what you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to all things E3, your impressions, moving on from it. We have other things coming up this year too when it comes to like Gamescom, fucking Tokyo Game Show, shit like that.
Yeah, that's the beginning of the whole roller coaster.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then EA's got their announcement coming up. So yeah, this is the beginning of gaming announcements. So we'll get more later and maybe find out what the fuck Blue Box is making.
Also, don't forget there's a holiday season. So.
True. All right, so we're gonna pass the mic to you guys and read your comments. You guys commented on a lot of our videos. I made a funny ass face right there. Look at me. It's a completely different beanie. Don't think it's the same. It's a brand new beanie. Look at that thing. Yeah, comment, ask TLG on your comment if you want to be featured on this. Otherwise, we pick at random. But I am going to go through and read quite a bit of these because we covered E3. You guys were with us for that, and we've been talking about it all week. I want to make sure you guys, are heard and we reply. I have time to reply to a lot of you guys too. So I want to give you guys an opportunity to be replied to here. So we're going to start with my reaction to the reveal trailer of Battlefield 2042. that I think this is the original trailer, not the gameplay trailer that we saw. So, yeah, I watched that. If you want to know what I thought of it in the moment, go check it out. That goes for all these videos. We got Flapjack, Daddy Clap, Dummy Thick, Pancake Cheeks, No Syrup. Getting better at saying that. Saying, I'm genuinely hyped for this. So he's stoked for Battlefield. Me too. Jerry Melendez says, woohoo, can't wait to catch your reaction tonight. So hyped. He pretty showed up to every stream, so that's very appreciated. Always good to have you in the streams, Jeremy. Chevy says, gimme the Robo-Dog.
True.
Are you still excited about the Robo-Dog?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Thank you for the comments, Chevy, and everybody else. Moving on. We have reacting to Summer Game Fest kickoff, where we saw Elden Ring. So if you want to see our original reaction to that and our secondary reaction and our third reaction, it's all in that video. And then there's another video where we talked about more Elden Ring. So if you want Elden Ring content still, we talked about it quite a bit. We got some big comments from some of our big commenters. First one being Simon Writer's Block Randall saying, big Dark Souls. The hollowing ends, the tarnishing begins, soundtrack already doing things to me. PvP is back from the looks of it, bigger than life art direction, FromSoft being FromSoft. Agreed. I think the counter animation is a running joke in the dev team, though. I kind of expect combat to be a mix between Dark Souls in terms of branching and Sekiro, stealth and lots of parrying. I never like mounted combat in games, though, but we're definitely getting camera fucked again. Some of those creatures shown were enormous. Time to clip dragon nails and timing rolls by looking at belly spasms and tail movement. Wonder why we're riding chamois, though. It's an interesting question. I pretty much agree. I think it's going to be a mix of Dark Souls and Sekiro, because we did see the stealth segment there, which is exciting for me. Hopefully it's a little more fleshed out than Sekiro. I like that Sekiro had it, but I like a better stealth system. Dark Souls combat, but looks like it flows better. The animations look way better, in my opinion. We are going to get camera fucked. That's just the way it is when it comes to Dark Souls games. Soundtrack, I mean, that's one thing. Dude, even fucking Armored Core had such a fucking like epic soundtrack. Like, that's just something From Software does. From Software, even across all their games, doesn't have to be Dark Souls. They know how to make shit epic and fucking just dope looking. Dope with cool music that just fits the scene, and you're just like, this is intense. They've always done it. They're really good at it. So the music, the soundtrack, is going to do that. And yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything you're saying here, except for the chamois thing. Isn't it a fucking... I thought it was a horse. I don't remember. Not a big fan of mounted combat. I think if it's done badly, I agree with you. Otherwise, I always like in games where I can ride by someone and fucking hit them. Always feels good. I know you don't like driving, riding, or
I was saying the only thing I can
operating.
even comment on in this whole thing is I probably will spend very little time on the back of a horse if I decide to play the game. So
yeah.
And for context, when I played oh no, my brain just blanked. Ghosts of Tsushima. I almost never used my horse the whole game, and I platinumed it. So
Yeah, you're running around on foot a lot. That horse was so good, though. The flow of it was so fucking well done.
don't like it.
But yeah, I share your enthusiasm and concerns of getting camera fucked. So we will see, but I think we're going to be right on this. From Software, I feel like you can kind of certain things you can kind of bank on and assume are going to happen.
I also think if you're going to buy the game, you're consenting to that happening to you anyways.
Yeah, you're agreeing to it when you purchase it because you knew it when you went into it. Amelia says, I tinkled a little in my trousers at the Elden Ring reveal, my most anticipated game. It looks beautiful, and just when I thought open world was getting stale, From showed me a vision of a unique open world experience. As for the combat, they said it take more cues from Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, than Dark Souls. Kind of seems like that. On top of horseback riding and horseback combat, there will also be stealth mechanics. I wonder if that's also taking from Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. I assume it is. I feel like they probably learned some lessons from that in changing up the combat from Dark Souls, and this will be a continuation and evolution of that. I can't wait to see this natural evolution of Dark Souls, as Hidetaka Miyazaki has described it to be. Continuing, I wonder if Elden Ring lore-wise will actually be connected to the world of Dark Souls. Well, oh god, the guy who wrote the fucking story, Martin.
Oh, George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, he recently in an interview said that it's a sequel to Dark Souls, and everybody's like, it's not a sequel to Dark Souls; it's its own game. What if it was connected to Dark Souls? What if they told him early on, like, we need, we're just looking to make it like even like a loose sequel, something that's within the same realm or universe, and he just like blatantly said that shit. But you could also say it's a sequel in the sense of like it's a follow up.
All the Nier games are sequels, but
sure,
they're.
He could just be confused too, though, and like he's just saying a sequel as like it's a follow up to prior games they've made similar to it. So it's loose, whatever, but it might be. There seems to be some overlapping concepts in the 3 interlocking rings could refer to multiple worlds connected, which would be cool. The tree seems inspired by Yggdrasil, which is Norse mythology connected 9 worlds.
Yeah, definitely.
100%,
hard to miss that. Yeah.
I wonder if we'll get some kind of tribute to Kentaro Miura in this game.
The whole game.
Well, in the trailer, you see the dude who looks a lot like fucking Guts.
The wolf armor.
The wolf guy, yeah.
Pose and all.
Yeah. I would be very surprised. The whole game is going to be a tribute, but I would be surprised if there isn't something that's going to be directly in tribute to him, because he has been such a inspiration for a lot of things, but for what they do.
I say Cloud wouldn't exist if he didn't exist.
Everything, dude. So many things are inspired by Guts, which is sad, but amazing, because I love Berserk. Tiny Tina's Wonderland, I am kind of interested in, as I recently got Borderlands, the Handsome Collection, and even though I didn't think I'd get into it, I'm really enjoying Borderlands 2. It's good. I've not gotten far into, or to be introduced to Tiny Tina, though. She's definitely a fan favorite. I'm kind of interested in it, too. We didn't see the game, so I don't know, but in concept, I assume it's going to be similar to the DLC that was in Borderlands 2, and that was definitely one of the better DLCs for that game.
I think I'm going to be the jerk here and say I think Borderlands 2 was their lucky game.
I liked Borderlands 1 quite a bit, but 2 was so much better. 3 is better in gameplay, but I don't give a fuck about it in any other capacity, so I don't want to replay it. I agree that I want to wait and see more of it first. I don't give a crap if Andy Samberg is involved or not. I couldn't agree with anything said tonight more than I don't give a crap if Andy Samberg is involved or not in anything. So, agreed.
Who is that?
Some fucking dude.
Okay.
He thinks he's funny. Death Stranding is one of my favorite games of all time, and much like you, I consider a masterpiece. You're talking about me for sure. So a director's cut sounds both intriguing and orgasmic in providing a reason to upgrade and experience it anew. I'm looking for a reason to buy the fucking game again. I hope it's a physical PS5 release. I'm curious what new gameplay systems and storylines will be included. I assume there will be a new story at least, whether it's a side quest or part of the main narrative. Yeah, I want to play it again anyway, but new content is what I'm mostly curious about. What are they adding to it? Because I loved every fucking inch of that game. So
also, I feel like you could have a lot of fun bringing that game to a PS5 controller too.
Oh, for sure. Like the amount of like movement and like terrain that affects every step in that game could so easily be translated into that controller to enhance the journey of that game, the walking of the game, that if you don't experience, you're not going to appreciate it the same way somebody who played through it. That game really it really matters that you play it in that game. You got to be there for every step.
The boss fights also have a little bit of walking.
Yeah. There's a lot of walking in almost every game ever. MMOs are walking simulators. Steel Rising, I am also excited for, as I really liked Greedfall by the same studio, and the new cinematic trailer looks great. You actually had us react to that, and I agree. I think the game looks really cool, and really hope that's their Spiders big hitter finally. Like they're going the right direction. They really are. So wait for that big game that's gonna really break them out. I really want to play Chivalry 2. The first one was really fun. I'm excited for the DLC for Mortal Shell 2, the Virtuous Cycle. I don't know anything about that, but I have played Chivalry 2, and it's a lot of fun. It's not like an amazing game, but it's a lot of fun if you like running in, swinging swords at people, lobbing heads off. On another note, has anyone played Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade episode Intermission?
I bought it.
The new expansion or Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart? This is a bit disappointing.
Yeah. So
this was a week ago.
Yeah,
we got this.
I bought the 7 Remake Intergrade. Have not tried it yet. And then I plan to buy Ratchet & Clank this weekend. So.
I have every intention to buy and play Ratchet & Clank.
I have every intention to play both those, but
Same, yeah, for sure. But I can just beat Final Fantasy 7. I've been such an asshole about that game. But Ratchet & Clank is like brand new, straight up PS5 game. There's no excuse why I haven't touched it yet.
Yeah.
It's fucking bizarre. But I think it's because E3, we're covering E3, we weren't thinking about it.
My brain was somewhere else.
They released the game during E3, so it's kind of crazy timing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't played either of them, and I'm hoping to play them soon.
For sure.
Anything you want to throw in there while we're here? Or?
I kind of just did it while you're going.
Yeah, same. So. That's what I was trying to do. With these bigger comments, I like to just do it as I'm reading through. So we don't have to
change your trousers.
Yeah, hopefully a week ago. Since a week ago, that's been fixed.
I would expect so, but just in case, change them.
Yeah. Thank you for the comment. Moving on, Maneki Neko says Wonderlands has me interested in how far it'll deviate from Borderlands gameplay, and Elden Ring shit can't stop watching the trailer.
It's a good one.
I've seen the trailer quite a bit as well. Seems to be a general consensus of a lot of people that it's a very watchable trailer. The hype's real for sure. Wonderlands, yeah. I mean, I think everyone's on the same page. Either you don't give a fuck about it, or you're hoping to give a fuck because you're interested in the prospect of it. But what do we have to go off of? What we remember that they've done in the past, and hopefully they do that and better.
Right.
But I'm also curious about, are we getting another Borderlands game, or are we getting something different, something that they can really go crazy with and make a different experience? I don't know. Maybe it's an RTS. That'd be fucking crazy. And then another one from Neko Neko says, I think Sydney Goodman left IGN to kinda do her own thing, kinda like what Greg Miller did with Kinda Funny. That's the girl who's always at the presentations that we've commented on.
So she's going to get a crew, awkwardly fire a guy, and then just be not funny all the time?
Yep, and then split their fan base.
Cool.
And then the guy who leaves is like the most supported gaming Patreon ever. Edit, just realized all the kindas I used. Yeah, it kind of threw me off. I swear it was unintentional. I think it was intentional. I think you're like, I'm gonna fucking make Seth look like an idiot. Which is tough to do. Good job. Anything you want to add to anything? All right, thank you for the comments, everybody. Moving on to the next video, we got, and I did go through, I believe, and only pick the videos that we had comments on, because there's like 2 videos no one commented on. No one fucking commented. What the hell's that? Reaction Ubisoft Forward E3 2021. We reacted to the whole thing, so go check it out. New Avatar game, and you guys are very excited about that. We got one comment. Tom B says, rather Ubisoft Fast Forward times 10 or 10 times. Disapproval face. He looks bored. Did you want to fast forward through that when we watched it?
No.
Yeah, me neither, but I could see where he's coming from. It was definitely not one of the best presentations, but
and this has nothing to do with you, Tom, but I feel like Ubisoft gets an unfair amount of hate every single year. So
I agree. They are one of the top big 3, but they're not as bad as the other 2. And their presentations are typically at least fun.
Or they're safe, for
sure. I think a big problem with Ubisoft is like we kind of know what they're going to show us, even if it's a brand new game. Yeah. It's like, oh, more of that. No Splinter Cell, huh? Yeah. Another year, no Splinter Cell. Thanks, Ubisoft. More pandas dancing. No pandas dancing this year.
Well, don't worry though. Splinter Cell will be in other games.
Yeah, and get his own fucking anime or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, I get where you're coming from. It wasn't the best presentation, but I didn't think it was that bad either. But yeah, moving on to the next video. Thank you for the comment. Reaction to Xbox and Bethesda games, E3. This is the big one. This was our favorite one. And you guys commented. We got one from Flapjack Daddy Claps. Dummy Thick Pancake Cheeks No Syrup saying, yeah, after I watched the gameplay trailer, I was super hyped for you guys to check it out. This looks as Battlefield has ever been. I kind of agree. It looks, watching it again, I was like, this is Battlefield.
Yeah, it feels good.
Like Battlefield's back, and it looks bigger and crazier. So, yeah, and I appreciate you watched it, and we're like, they got to, I'm stoked for them to check it out because I watched, I was pretty fucking into it. So,
yeah.
He also says, also, I had no idea Battlefield was part of the Microsoft showing. I only saw it appear as a standalone trailer released on the Battlefield YouTube channel. Lol. Yeah, on the Discord. And I appreciate when people tip us off with anything. He was letting us know, hey, there's a trailer for Battlefield. And I was like, is it independent or is it part of the presentation? He had assumed it was independent. We watched it before the presentation, and then it happened to happen in the presentation as well. So we watched it twice. I'm not complaining. It's a good trailer. So if it was a shit one, maybe I'd be like, you fucked up, Flapjack, Daddy Clap, Dummy, Thick, Pancake, blah, blah, blah. I can't even fucking do it.
How dare you not be perfect?
How dare you not be 100% accurate? But yeah, the trailer was sick, and I'm glad you're super hyped for us to check it out. Yeah. And then we got, how do I say that? Alatool saying, I would have had a Prey 2017 sequel, then Starfield. It's kind of a rough thing to say, considering, not for me, I don't give a fuck, it's Starfield, but like, a lot of people are excited for Starfield, and Prey did not get the recognition I think a lot of people wanted it to get.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that you just like, yeah, I wish we were getting a sequel of that over Starfield.
Well, and hopefully they can still
Over
make
Garfield.
that happen. Honestly, I'm Starfield is only on my radar only because I'm hoping that they can make me care. So, but I'm really just not. I'm not sold.
I got no hype for it, but if
Yeah.
they do make a great game, you're not gonna see me fucking complaining. I'll play it.
Yeah,
so.
I'm in a weird limbo place with Bethesda.
Yep. Well, I'm down with them right at this point, but they
I
can
meme
bring
on
it
them
back.
pretty hard, but
Yeah.
they are a capable company. I just need them to start caring again. So
That's the big thing. Yeah, they got to start like being like a company that gives a fuck again, because they're not. Like I said, hopefully Xbox like get your shit together. Let's fucking make some fun. Xbox is the perfect company for that. They're all about fucking. Are people having fun? People love games. So if Bethesda's like,
are they playing together?
I feel like he's gonna go up to Phil Spencer and be like, Skyrim. He's like, no more fucking. I was gonna clap really loud, but it'd be loud. No more fucking Skyrim. It's time to move on, Todd. And Todd would be like, but Skyrim money, like we got money at Microsoft. Just fucking make new games. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
We're losing money on Game Pass. Just make something.
military money, school money.
Yeah, we're not short on that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for the comments, everybody. Moving on to the next video. We did Capcom E3 Showcase 2021 and Elden Ring details. We talked about the details of Elden Ring, so if you're curious about our thoughts on that, check it out. We got a comment from, what the fuck is going on here? Amelia saying, I'm so hyped. I love the map. Is in the game and players have to keep track of their own progress, kind of like Metro Exodus. I love how you can go about the bosses in any order. It's truly open world in the context, much like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is something I believe I mentioned here or maybe in real life. I don't know. That's something I kept bringing up. I'm like, it's kind of cool. You can go in any direction and kind of do your own thing. Including having NPC side quests changing how the endings play out, which is much like that game too. If you don't collect all of Link's memories, it impacts the ending. All the details about this game just sound incredibly ambitious, immersive, and amazing. This game is shaping up to be far more than simply Dark Souls 4. It's a true evolution and expansion of what they started with that formula. Edit, I want that honey pot monster as my spirit partner. If the game lets me capture it to have as a companion, I don't care if it's useful or not. I'm in 100% agreement with you on that last part. As soon as I saw Little Pot Boy, I was in love. And if I could have Little Pot Boy with me throughout the whole game, I would totally do it as well, even if he wasn't that great, because Little Pot Boy is fucking sick. I agree. I think it's really interesting that Zelda didn't reinvent the wheel, but they gamified in a Zelda way open world games. And in that reconstruction, like I said, they didn't reinvent it, but they altered it. People are now inspired by Zelda Breath of the Wild for open world games, which takes a lot of ideas from other games. I mean, there's a lot of influence there, but again, they add that Zelda ness to like the exploration and the dungeons, stuff like that. And I wouldn't be surprised. I'd actually be surprised if they said they didn't get inspired by it in some way or another.
Yeah.
When it comes to the design of their open world, because Dark Souls is also a very gamified game, even though it's high in difficulty. It's set up like a game with set rules and structures. There's no like accidents to it. It's all planned according. And this seems to be a very typical thing in a lot of Japanese games anyway. Whereas like a lot of Western games are, how immersive can it be? How realistic can it be?
We're definitely about the cinematic experience.
Here's the tools to do whatever the fuck you want to make your own fun. Whereas like you play Dark Souls and it's like you're within the confines of the rules of the game, and they're designed specifically to have this experience that there is freeform to it 100%. But even in an open world game like Zelda Breath of the Wild, there is a planned way of freedom they've allotted you, they've given you.
That people break left and right.
Yeah, and it's just really interesting game design, and so I wouldn't be surprised if it was an influence for this game, which is really cool to hear, or would be cool to hear if I heard that, but really cool to think about, I think. So, but yeah, I agree. It is definitely shaping up to be more than Dark Souls 4. But if it is like a spiritual Dark Souls 4, it's quite the evolution. So. Anything you want to add?
The only thing I really could add is I do feel like FromSoft is literally just when they keep saying they're done with something, I think they literally mean the name and not the game, because it does feel like they're just evolving this craft, and in order to do it safely, they have to slap another name on it, and it actually is super smart.
Yeah, they got a formula that they're in the lab they're working on and trying to make better and better and better.
Yeah. They're trying to make Coca-Cola right now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Hopefully it always keeps its uniqueness and its charm and stuff like that. I don't want to get too watered down, but they're definitely, every time they make a new game where they experiment, and then they take those lessons to the next game and add more experiments, and that just keeps rolling.
Yeah,
just honing that craft of the type of game they make, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So
same. Thank you for the comment. Moving on to the last video. Quick reminder that if you'd like your comment to be read on TasteCast, make sure to type in hashtag AskTLG. Otherwise, I pick at random. Here I'm reading pretty much everybody. We got a comment on the Nintendo Direct Bandai Namco, or lack of Bandai Namco, presentation from Keith, talking to someone who's not here, saying, Chris is cray-cray. You get so many weapons constantly. The durability is arbitrary at that point. Breath of the Wild is easily one of the best games I've ever played.
If that game ever goes on sale, and it's a Nintendo game, so it won't. I would be curious to try it, but I literally cannot convince myself to spend $50 on an open world Zelda game with durability.
Yeah, and the durability is one of the biggest things that was ever talked about with that game, outside of people loving it.
Sure.
But people also, I know so many people who just did not beat it because they hated the durability.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah, that's an annoyance, right? And I could probably look around that, but I'm so just, open world is not my category, and I'm not a big Zelda fan, like just in general. Last Zelda like I truly enjoyed was probably, well, realistically, it was probably Ocarina of Time, but my favorite is oh god, now I'm not gonna know the name, and I'm not gonna be a true fan. Yeah, Link to the Past. The Super Nintendo one's amazing.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, dude, that's fucking definitely one of the legendary games. But there's a lot of them. For a while, I didn't play because the art style was so different, but in retrospect, they're all different looking now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of now the Zelda thing. But they're all really well crafted, good, creative games.
I'm not going to say that.
I'm also, though, I mean, I admit it, I don't mind the Avatar movies, and I'm going to say, not the biggest Zelda fan either.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. I like Zelda. I love certain Zelda games from my past or whatever, but Link to Seth's past. But yeah, the formula is just not like amazing to me. But they're fun.
Yeah, I think I should probably clarify.
But the open world definitely kind of exacerbates.
I definitely don't think they're bad games.
Yeah, for
They're
sure.
definitely not bad
I would
games.
never. Who the fuck would make that claim? That'd be kind of crazy.
But they're just so like it's hard for me because people get so excited for these games. I'm just like, I can't. So
Yeah, I don't know the last time I was hyped for a Zelda game.
yeah.
Probably back in the day.
Now that being said,
Ocarina of Time I was very excited for.
everyone loves this game, and they're making a sequel to it, and I'm so excited for you guys.
Are you excited, Chris? Cray cray?
Well, I mean that's just normal, but I also talk to the guy like almost every day, so
Nice cray cray.
yeah,
For sure. Trying to get him in a hot tub.
yeah. And then I had to inform him that they make inflatable ones now, so he has no excuse. He can put it in his closet when he's not using it.
Oh, he's got no excuse. Fucking, what if he just doesn't want to be in it? I got big plans. I want Chris up in the Chris box in a hot tub every taste cast.
Or at least one.
No, every single one.
Everyone.
That'd be like his thing.
It's got to turn to a prune.
He doesn't have to stay in it after we film.
Yeah, but we filmed for like 2 to 3 hours.
He'll be fine. What do you think those girls on Twitch were doing?
Putting their feet in there.
Hanging out in there for hours.
They're not sitting in them.
There might not even been water in some of those.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're not stupid.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Made a lot of money not being stupid, so yeah. That's cool though. That Breath of the Wild is easily one of the best games you ever played.
Yeah.
It does seem like a game that you'd definitely be a big fan of. And I'm glad the durability wasn't a hindrance for you, because I know for a lot of people it was definitely, even like huge fans of Zelda, I knew were not a fan of the durability. So
Yeah,
I'm sure as you play it, it's not. Well, yeah, but it's like in the beginning of the game. I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure it changes later. The further you get into it, I never beat that game. Not for that reason alone. Seth reasons, but in the beginning of the game, you can hit someone with the stick like 3 times and it just breaks. Or if you find an axe, you like hit somebody a couple times, it just breaks. And you just like load up your sack full of weapons and just breaking constantly and shit. So
Weird.
yeah, it's a really interesting game design, and like I said, there's so many weapons constantly. The durability is arbitrary, but that's kind of things you're cycling through weapons often because they break all the time. So it's a really interesting game choice that I'm gonna put money on it. If they make, I would put money. I'm not gonna. Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever they end up calling it, I would be very surprised if they keep the durability system the same. If it's exactly the same, I'll be surprised, because that's the biggest thing. That's the only thing I heard complained about in that game was the durability. That's it.
So it's a weird idea to me too, just because like, what if I like it?
What, the durability?
The weapon. What if I want that weapon?
No, it's busted.
That's
It's
my
gone.
whole point. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Yeah. But it's about the journey in Zelda. It's not about you're not
I
getting that loot.
don't care about him trying to find his fucking girlfriend, man.
True. That's most Nintendo games, though. All right. Well, unless you have anything else to say.
Thank you for your comment, Keith.
Thank you for the comments, Keith. Your comment, Keith. But thank you for your comments, everybody. It's been a fun E3. We always enjoy doing this, and always enjoy talking about it. So again, let us know in the comments everything you're thinking about when it comes to E3, your impressions, good, bad, everything in between. But that's going to do it for this episode of TasteCast. Thanks for watching. As always, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. If you enjoyed this episode, if that's not enough support for the channel, check out our Patreon. Check out our Discord link down below. Talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, the podcast platforms. If you prefer to listen to us in audio form, this will be an audio form. And yeah, type in hashtag STLG in your comment if you'd like to be considered on TasteCast. Last reminder, before you find out who I am, this weekend, Plus Club. Most likely will come out Sunday, unless something changes, but most likely Sunday. And then I'm going to really push back Game of the Month probably to Tuesday or Wednesday, because I want to get a chance to play Minecraft quite a bit. So that's the plan. Those are the episodes coming out next. And if anything gets announced, which I don't think because E3 just happened, we'll cover it for sure. But yeah, my name's Seth, and Chevy, thanks for joining me as always. And until the next episode, we will see you guys later. Take it easy.